Hello, and welcome back to Xpwaste, where I had a far more creative opener planned for this episode, but then I lost it. So if you find it, at me and let me know. Hi, I'm Oxie.
And I'm Michael. If this is your first time tuning into Xpwaste, welcome. We're in old school RuneScape podcast.
Xpwaste podcast.
We're an Xpwaste podcast. Thank you, Oxie. We're an old school RuneScape podcast. We're going to talk about what's happening in the game. We'll give you some tips and tricks. Talk about the news a bit. We have like 15,000 hours of combined hours played in this game. So I feel like we know a thing or two. If you're not new around here, we're back, I guess. We started a Twitch account.
Wow, you sound so enthusiastic.
I didn't know what to say.
We're here. I don't know. So are you.
It feels like we took a long time off because wasn't last week when we posted the 3-year anniversary, right? So we did that stream on Saturday.
And Michael
and
doesn't remember
sick.
any of it.
I remember it. I remember it. We got sick. I got sick on Sunday. And then this has been one of the harder weeks of my life because I've been potty training my toddler. My wife and I have been potty training our toddler. And so this whole week has been a blur. So it just feels like it's been several years since we recorded last and posted an episode because I didn't do almost any editing on that episode. Like I
saw you
it.
Like you did a cold opener, you put an intro in. I don't even know if you did a break.
No break. Nope.
Yeah, no break, just like straight through. You probably put the outro music and called it good.
Yeah.
Like, I figured I'm like bare minimum is ideal for this episode.
The only thing I cut was there was a point in time where both of us like left. I went on and changed my shirt and I think you got some water. We both left for like at least a minute. And I didn't want just like a minute of silence. So I cut that, made it seem like a moment of silence. I cut that to make it seem like it was shorter. And then I put a cold outro, a little behind the scenes for you guys. Spari from the Xpwaste podcast was like, oh no, you guys are going to have the longest podcast now. And he posted their longest podcast time was 4 hours, 30 minutes, and 23 seconds. So I spent more time than I should have to make our episode 4 hours, 30 minutes, and 24 seconds.
Hell yeah. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Asserting dominance in the RuneScape podcast community. Who's next? We're coming for you.
I think they're interviewing some guy that they spoke for they recorded for like 4.5 hours, 5 hours. And so they might have us.
Spari was telling me about that episode, and he said the guest they interviewed was upset that they didn't talk longer. Because they the guest just wanted to talk about more. I know who the guest is, but I don't know if they're very public about their guests. So the Xpwaste people might know, but for the sake of keeping it for their surprise, if that's what they want, I know who the guest is, and I think it's gonna be a good episode. It's gonna be a long one.
I've never heard of that person. And if I have, maybe I just I don't know notably what they do, but they're a streamer and they were really good friends with Mathis. Neat. Okay.
Way back in the day, I'm pretty sure.
That's fun.
Yeah.
That's fun. So talking about streams, we started a Twitch account. The link for that will be in the description, but our username on Twitch is the Xpwaste podcast. All spelled out, no spaces.
It's a terrible.
We can change it, but
it's such a terrible username, Mike.
Okay, what would you have made the username?
So here's my thing about the Xpwaste Twitch account, right? I feel like, and you guys this is a conversation Michael and I have had, but I feel like it's more important for you guys, the fans, to give us your thoughts because you guys are the ones who are going to be watching us, right? If Michael and I are in the chat when the other one is streaming, it's not necessarily to watch, it's to antagonize and to moderate, right? So you guys give us the opinions, right? Michael likes the idea of the Xpwaste podcast Twitch channel so people know who we are because it's centralized on all platforms. It's Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter. It's all Xpwaste podcast. I personally think the Twitch name, the Xpwaste podcast, is not very personal because what I've found with Twitch is it's a very personable platform, right? I'll go raid a streamer and they'll say, yo, Oxie, Thank you for the raid. What's up, Raiders? Welcome to the party. You know, we're hanging out, having a good time. And then when you're chatting in a stream, I don't know how many of you stream, but I know probably a more decent chunk of you watch, right? Like, people, even when we do it in the recording booth chat, you call out the chatters by name, right? It just feels better to be like, Tiki Mug says, do it, Oxie, spoil it, take them down, right? Like as a joke, right? So it feels more personal for me to say, no, Tiki, I'm not going to do that, as opposed to, no, Xpwaste podcast, I'm not going to do that. And then because both of us stream on the platform, how do we know who's going live, right?
Yeah.
Then we not only have to show up with a weird username that people might not know off the rip, we also have to introduce ourselves, right? So if I raid someone, I have to say it's Oxie from the Xpwaste podcast. And if people don't know who we are, right, they're going to go, oh, that doesn't mean anything to me, right? That's like me showing up and being like, hey, my name's Matt from the Oxie M17 Twitch page. They're going to go, okay, I'm just going to call you Oxie, which still makes sense, but you never know. Like, I don't know. I just feel like for me, the branded title is going to foster less of a human connection on a platform where streamers and viewers thrive and coexist by being able to call each other their first name, right? People don't, like, you're thinking like, oh, what about like Critical Role? They're a branded whatever. Critical Role doesn't like show up in other people's Twitch chats.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Critical Role doesn't have to go like raid Dungeons and Daddies or whatever that show is to gain viewership, because that's part of the reason why we want to do Twitch, is so we can grow on a platform where people have more access to us, and so we can sort of get to know other members of the RuneScape community, because unless we invite them on as guests, people might enjoy our show, but unless they join the Discord and commit to like interacting with us in the game, in the clan, in the Discord, that's going to be tough. I know for me, I got to level with you guys, I don't really care about other content creator Discords. Like I'll join them because I like the content creator, but I have a home Discord, right? I'm in Mighty's Discord. I'm in other streamers' Discord. I'm in the Xpwaste Discord. TNL is my home. I'm going to spend 99% of my time in here, right? Same thing with the in-game clan. I'll guest in Raid's Bank if I'm there for a bingo. I'll guest in another clan if I'm there for something, but TNL is where the boys are. So I'm going to spend most of my time in here. And I feel like to grow with other creators and to grow with other people within the community who also may have those same relationships, Twitch is the perfect meeting place, right? It's that third space, as it were, where we can interact with one another without having to, like, you know, leave the CC or join it, like be in a different VC with people we don't know. Cause like, to me, that's a living nightmare, is joining a different Discord with people I don't know. I don't know. So let us know what you guys think about the Twitch channel name. Because I think streaming on it more consistently is something Michael and I both want to do, or streaming in general. But it's the question of, what do we call it and where do we stream on? Because I think Michael and I probably got to work that out too. But
could drop
ideally you'll see us live more often.
Could just drop the. Because I guess Xpwaste Pod or Xpwaste Podcast is more in line with our other social media.
I mean, even if it was like the XPW, I feel like it might be like XPW? People could call us XPW as opposed to like, I don't know. Just this is just ideas I'm spitballing. Give us thoughts in the Xpwaste chat, or, you know, next time you see us live on Twitch, give us your thoughts, because we want your guys' feedback. At least I want your guys. Michael might not, but I do.
I do. I love feedback. Feedback is how you improve things and how things grow. Because like, I don't claim to be the one who knows everything, and you know that's why two brains are better than one.
But he sure acts like it. Hey,
hey-o.
I'm teasing. I'm fucking with you, Michael.
Goodness. It's too early for that. Well, how are you doing? What did you do this week? Anything notably fun?
I feel like I did, actually. I did, because I streamed on my own Twitch channel this week for the first time in like 2 years. I was listening to the episode when it came out, and I thought to myself, you know what? I think I'm going to chuck up a stream tonight and just see how it goes. And it was going fine. And then somebody added all of the XP wasters at once, and people came just flooding in. Because I was talking to like 6 or 7 people killing Zulrah, and then we were getting follow after follow after follow. I said, Michael, you rat. And he just sent like a kissing face emoji because I knew he added the folks. But it turned out to be a really good evening of like talking and chatting with a big group of people while just doing like almost like back to form stuff like I used to do on Twitch. Like I did Zulrah for a little while, died several times. I have 1400 KC and a T-bow, by the way. I did Muspa and almost died several times. Nothing like a 2-kill trip with 99 range and a T-bow. Then we did some clue scrolls. And I almost died doing a master clue because I had to do the step where you like go dig in the spot where you fight Glacia and Desert Treasure. The wolves knocked me to 6 HP because I thought your prayer just drained. And I was like, oh shit. So I had to put melee prayer on at the last second. And then I did another master clue, and there's a wonderful clip of it in the Xpwaste chat where the wizard trio popped up and I wasn't paying attention. So I wasn't expecting to get attacked to begin with.
Yeah.
And then I kill the wizard trio, and as the last one is dying, on the same tick, 4 PKers log in, and then the next tick, 2 more log in. And I don't even bother fighting back. I just get absolutely fucking mollywopped at the Chaos Altar. And I'm just like hysterically laughing.
Yeah. Did you lose the
like
clue?
That was a good time. I did lose the other clue, yeah, but I put all the
no.
caskets away, thankfully. Then I did Vardorvis, and this is going to come as a surprise to you guys. I died a couple of times doing it because I'm bad at Vardorvis. I have a Scythe and an Infernal Cape, by the way. So it kind of felt good to like run around with a chicken with my head cut off doing PVM on stream again. Because like I really enjoy being able to do content that I really don't have to focus on while I'm live. Because way back in the day, I think that's what kind of killed it, is I started to get into Theater of Blood, and that took so much like hyper focus for me to like, because if I missed a tick, I was dead because I was just bad at the content. But like literally there was a point in time where I just wasn't even I didn't even realize Zulrah was in the blue phase. I just like, I'm so mechanical at the boss. I just moved, I switched prayers, and like was getting hit like 30, 40. Wasn't even paying attention to my HP because I was just chatting and having a good time. So that overall was pretty fun. I've obviously been doing a little bit of mining. 734 KOA. We're not going to get it this week. We might get it next week, but I did do some quick math.
Ooh, quick math.
And I think it's possible that if I do 18 laps of Hollowed Sepulchre a day, 18 laps from what I have right now, 90 agility and some change. I got 400k left till 91. If I do 18 laps a day from basically now until the end of April, I will have 99 agility by the end of April. Because the amount of laps that I need is, it's like 550, 570 from 92 to 99. And then I need about 180. Floor 4 laps to get to 92. So 18 laps a day seems very feasible. That's not factoring in, B is upset about something. That's not at all factoring in like this kind of stuff. Like I'm not going to do Sepulchre while I record, but I'll do Ardoyan. I'll do Prif. I'll get agility XP, which I'm sure we'll touch on here very soon with some of these blogs. So I'll train agility while I'm AFK, and that will cut down on the amount of days that I need to do 18 laps a day.
Yeah.
But according to Jesse, according to the Tizkal himself, a floor 5 run, once you get good at it, should be about 6.5 minutes from 1 to 5 straight through. So he said for me it should take more like 7, which like it's pretty on par. But you figure 70 times 180, that's what, like 2 hours a day, roughly? A little less than that. Let's figure that's not even, that's almost 2 hours exactly, right? So 2 hours of Sepulchre, 18 laps a day. I feel like 18 laps for me seems much more feasible than X amount of hours.
Right.
I've also factored in that if I do 100 herbivore a day from now until the end of April, I can also get 99 hunter on the same time frame. But you're talking another 2-ish hours of content per day. That some days I just can't commit,
Yeah, daily scape is
like
not fun.
I can't commit 4 hours a day consistently, right? Because like shooting stars is so low intensity that like one of my coworkers walked in. It was just her and I working, and she saw that I was playing RuneScape, and she was of course roasting me for playing RuneScape on the job. And I had no clients for the rest of the day. And she said, "How are you going to write notes if you're playing RuneScape?" And I said, "Watch this," and a star like leveled down, so a noose like smashing, and then click on the star.
Yeah.
I clicked on it, and I said, "I don't have to touch it again for 7 minutes." I said, "This is what playing RuneScape is like for me at work."
Yeah.
Yeah. So sometimes I have those opportunities at work, like I did this past week. Other times, like I don't think I'll even bring my laptop to work this week until maybe Friday, because I'm gonna be moving all week long. So I don't know if I can commit 4 hours a day. But I'm trying to get the slowest ones done first, because like if I just sweat my balls off and get 900k construction XP a day for like 2 days, or like a week, that's 99, like right there. Same thing with like fletching, same thing with herb lore. I could spend a lot of money and get it done a lot quicker. Fishing, I know people are talking about driftnet. Driftnet ain't too bad. I might do a little bit of driftnet. So we'll see how she goes, but that's my plan for agility, because I think I'm gonna quote unquote start it, but I'm not gonna stick only to it, because people have already been DMing me about like, yo, when does your next arc start? And I think if I only have to do 18 laps of Sepulcher a day, or the equivalent amount of agility XP, I could spend a lot more time doing more content that I enjoy.
Yeah.
Instead of just like sitting in this godforsaken brown hellhole that I'm in right now. I hate this skill so much. I've hated other skills in the past. I've hated agility. I've hated runecrafting. I've hated thieving. I really don't think, after having done so much of it, that I have been more disinterested in training a skill than mining. Its only saving grace has been shooting stars. Not even kidding. That said, I got about 10 mil worth of clay packs in Stardust that I'm going to cash in on when this is all said and done, but still.
Is it clay or gems that are the better profit?
I actually looked it up. Gems are 68 GP per Stardust, and clay is 78 GP per Stardust.
Wow. Okay.
And when you have like 125k like I do, it stacks up to be like an extra mil.
You have 125,000 Stardust?
Bro, I got a shit ton of Stardust.
Oh my gosh.
Absolute shit ton of Stardust.
Holy smokes.
But that's been my week. A little bit of PVM, a lot of skilling, and then just a smidge of future planning.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, that's what I've been up to. Otherwise, I've been at home organizing stuff. I'm going out later for St. Patrick's Day. I'm gonna have a grand old time. And I'm even having a bev, because it is St. Patrick's Day. I'm having a spruce tip IPA.
Nice.
As a little thing. So,
oh yeah, today.
What about you, Michael? What have you been up to?
Well, besides what I mentioned before with being sick and potty training, which have consumed most of my days, like the majority of my actual day. But it's spring break this week, so my son is not at daycare. He goes to it's a Spanish immersion school. So they actually have spring break, and they take like summer break and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, he was home all week. So that's why we're doing the potty training this week. And so during his naps and stuff, I've had some free time, and I've been doing almost nothing but barrows on the groupie. I am up to, let's see, I'm actually doing barrows right now. I'm up to 250 barrows chests.
Damn.
I know, dude. I'm
at least getting anything good?
No, not for like the last 3 items. I got my third Torax helm.
Pog fucking champion, baby.
I got an Aram staff recently. And that almost makes, that makes me have the full set, but not on my collection log. The only thing I'm missing for myself is Aram's top. And then I think I got like
go do the elite crew step. Go do the elite diary step now.
Right now? Isn't that like just do the chest with
a full set of barrels?
Yeah, I probably could.
We have that's a really difficult step for Iron Men, so we've got that done with full arms.
Do I have? I'm gonna check real quick after I kill Carol's here. I'm gonna check and see if I have anything completely done by myself. No, I'm missing. So I'm missing one Aram's piece. I'm missing one Guthan's piece, and I would have a full set there. And that's what I've been hunting is the Guthan's piece. I need Guthan's legs, and I don't think anybody in our group has gotten it yet because I'm the only one who's gotten any Guthan's so far. I've gotten the top, the helm, and the spear, and I just want the damn legs. And I know it's not like I could get anything. Whenever these chests pop, I could get literally anything, and dupes included. So it's not like it's even a good chance that I'll get Guthan's legs, but I'm going to keep doing it because I enjoy barrows and I'm 100% net positive on runes. Like if the only thing I'm missing is like the earth runes, but I could just sell the other runes to Ali Moore saying
they're negligibly cheap.
It's negligible. So I'm net positive on chaos runes. I think currently my staff, let me check. My staff has 800 charges and I'm sitting at like 14,000 chaos runes. I could fill that thing up a couple of times, I think. So yeah, I have a lot of charges. I'm not bleeding myself dry doing this, and it's magic XP. It's negligible magic XP, but at least I'm doing that. So barrows is the current grind. When I don't feel like doing barrows, the two other things that I've been doing is pyramid plunder, because I want to get a pharaoh scepter really, really bad. And the reason I want to get a pharaoh scepter is so that I can train Slayer more efficiently. Because the thing that like bugs me the most is the amount of times that I have to switch my spell book. Going from like the normal spell book to ancients. I love being able to just teleport anywhere. So being on the normal spell book is what I like to camp. But if I have a random burst task, it's just annoying to go all the way to the pyramid. I haven't looked into the Camulet. Somebody said, I think Tiki mentioned that last time, to use the Camulet. But like having the scepter would just be really nice because it makes doing pyramid plunder more efficient. And I'd like to have the altar in my house. And if I can get any other scepters, those would just be for the other group mates when they play. So I've been doing a bunch of pyramid plunder, and then gauntlet is the other thing that I've been doing when I'm kind of like feeling a bit burnt on barrows, because I really want to get good at corrupted. I want to get good. Like I haven't even done a corrupted kill yet.
Have you gotten a KC yet?
I haven't. And
someday
that's where I'm
Sure.
practicing. Yeah, for sure. I'm up to like 8 normal gauntlet on this account. And then obviously I have like 50 or 60 normal gauntlet on my main. And I mean, it's not impossible to get the stuff from normal gauntlet. It's just way more unlikely. I think it's like a 1 in 2,000 from the normal gauntlet versus.
I don't know, dog. I got my Bofa from regular gauntlet at 96 KC. Tiki's rolling. So I got every single drop from the collection log on gauntlet from a regular gauntlet, except the pet, which I got on my first KC corrupted. So
damn.
I've been known in communities as the gauntlet spoon many and many moons ago.
Yeah.
But I'm not good at corrupted gauntlet. I have like 70 something KC, and I'm just not that good.
Yeah.
So hopefully
it's hard.
It's something that we improve on as the year goes on, but we'll see.
It's not easy content. It's not easy because like it's always different. You know, you never have the same loadout. And the boss is always different too, because like it's just unpredictable. I think that's kind of the thing that's tripping me up a bit is like you could have a really good set of rooms, but still fail, or you could have a really bad set of rooms and barely make it and get the kill, or you just have an average time. So like it's always different. There's nothing the same about the actual gauntlet itself. Another Torag's helm. Four. That's 4 of them, Oxie. My wife is looking at me. 4 Torag's helms.
That's fantastic. That's one for each of the boys. Now we all got matching hats in the group. That's kind of going to be our group thing. Like maybe we'll all rock up in Torag's helmets whenever we go somewhere. Maybe that's the play. We'll all just like that's our fashionscape. We all have the matching hats everywhere we go, you know?
Yeah, sure.
How you feel about what you know about matching hats?
What you know about Torag's helms for everyone? Well, they're all chilling in freaking storage if you guys want them.
Woo!
I just want the Guthin's legs. So Gauntlet is fun. It's fun content to me. I killed the Hunlift twice actually last night with the halberd and the magic staff.
Ooh, because how'd that one feel?
Yeah, it was weird. Like I definitely failed the first time I did it, but it feels better because my melee stats are higher than my range at this point. Like obviously it's easier if you're just at range, being able to run around with the tornadoes and like avoiding the floor, but I have better DPS with my melee stats. So it makes it feel easier, I think. So there's definitely, there's strategies to doing it either way. So I just want to learn what's going to be best for my account. I was talking to somebody last night. I don't remember the name and I apologize. They said they went from, I think it was in Twitch. They went from 85 to 90 range getting their seed, their enhanced seed. And they went from like 90 to 93 magic. Took them over 700 corrupted gauntlet. And I'm like, well, I mean, that's one way to train range. I guess if I continue on with range, I'm only 83 right now. Yeah,
that's
not ideal, but it's definitely an option.
That's like, that's a lot, you know?
That's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot. So expect more updates about the gauntlet. I hope to have something to show for this week with Barrows. I don't want to keep doing it. It's fun. I don't want to keep doing it. I just want the Guthin's legs so I can have full Guthin's. And ultimately, it's just about being more like AFK for Slayer. Because the thing that bugs me the most with doing Slayer is these easy tasks is like I have to leave and go grab food and come back. Like a Dagonoth's task in the catacombs takes 2 full inventories of food. Whereas I could just have Guthin's and heal up and then get back to slaying. Because I have how many Cromwans do you think I have left?
60.
I have
30 Cromwans.
39. And I only have 200 raw. So like I would need to spend,
boys.
I would need to spend an entire week just fishing Cromwans again to like resupply myself, because I could just try and get Guthin's legs and not have to use a ton of food. Tiki said I'm at 1,100 plus barrows and haven't completed Guthin's. Don't pull all your hope into that. Oh my gosh, dude. So I'm gonna keep doing Guthin's and I'm gonna keep doing barrows while we record because it's pretty mindless for me now. But that's been my week. I'm actually really excited. You talked about future planning. I did a bit of future planning on stream. When I was doing, it was good. So I checked my kingdom, and I have the exact. It's not bad. I got teak planks. I got teak logs. I have the exact amount of teak logs that I need to have 84 construction banked on the Iron Man. And so, just like quick maths, it's going to take about 3.5 mil GP to do plank make, to make all of those into planks. And once I do that, I have nearly 8,400 teak planks to use at Mahogany Homes, and then I have 84 construction. Once I get 84, the plan is to have the ornate rejuvenation pool, the jewelry box, and I think I might make a nexus. But
wow, look at Michael. So. He's a changed man.
Well, how am I a changed man?
Because you have so adamantly been against the gilded nexus.
I said
as long as I've known you.
It's not totally worth it, because then the only thing that's tripping me up right now is I have 3 portal rooms with 3 each. So I have 9 teleport portals, which is fine. I don't mind having all the rooms. At this point, it would be the construction cost of making the Nexus and then all of the runes that I have to spend, because it's 1,000 for each. Like, it's 1,000 times however many. So if it takes 3 law runes, it's 3,000 law runes to do that teleport. So it would take me, I don't know, I'm tens of thousands of law runes that I just don't have, and I don't want to spend the time collecting to
Just
put things in the
runecraft 'em,
Nexus.
baby.
Just runecraft
Bring
me,
the bank.
says.
Just bring the banker's note and just tick, 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 tick once
Banker's
every tick.
note.
You know?
Gosh, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks
That's
for
how I've
reminding
done it.
me of the good times.
Last time I made law runes on an Iron Man. That's how I did it. So I don't know what you're complaining about.
I would hate the game if Banker's Note was in the game, but I would also love the game. So I'm really torn. It'd be a massive love-hate relationship, because it would be such an easy game at this point. There would be 0 challenge to the game. I mean, there was challenge to Leagues, but like Leagues was also really easy. So law runes, and not to mention like there's so many different runes that I don't think the Nexus is worth it for me right now. Maybe after I have done my 86 rune crafting grind, and I've got tens of thousands of runes because I did Guardians of the Rift, maybe then I'll think about the Nexus, but I'm fine with my portal rooms. It's just a little bit more inefficient getting around the house, because you have to run across the house to get to the room that you need, rather than having one room with all the portals. And not to mention, the Nexus room has like where you can put a mounted Xerix house, a mounted dig site pendant. So like there's other benefits, but it's just a lot to weigh out. Having the jewelry box is a no-brainer. Having the altars is a no-brainer. And I would be able to put a fairy ring in the house too, which is also mega pog, because right now my closest fairy ring is Salve Graveyard, so it would shave off like 30 seconds from having to use the fairy ring. So that's future planning for me. I found that you can use Plank Make auto casting. Like you can auto cast Plank Make. And so it takes like 3 seconds per plank. But like, what am I going to do while I'm working? Just hit start, and then like a minute and a half later, I hit start again, and I'll have 8,000 planks in no time. Very excited.
Yeah.
That's the future planning. I don't know. I don't have a set time for it, but I hope to have it in like the next couple weeks. 84 construction. I think the next couple weeks can be good, because I can't do barrels while I'm at work, and I don't really want to fish Karambwans. And so I think I'll start the planks slowly while I'm working, and then still try and get the Guthan's legs. Or if I get to where Tiki's at and like I'm at 1,000 barrows and I just don't have it, I think I'd just give up and say like, hey, maybe one of my group mates can test their luck and see what happens. You guys can go to barrows and I'll just feed you all the chaos runes you need. But the money that I'm gonna need for the plank make is actually going to come from my death runes, because I have 30,000 death runes. No, chaos blood runes. I have 30,000 blood runes, and Ali Morsane buys them for 200 each. And so I don't even need to sell all of them to get the money, and I don't have to dip into my actual cash stack, which is super nice, because I don't think there's a time where I'm going to be using all those blood runes that I won't just be able to get more once I get to 77 rune crafting.
You're going to get a scythe and you're going to kick yourself.
Oh, I know, right?
You're going to get
Or
a
a
sang
sang.
staff and you're going to kick yourself. Yeah. I can't wait for that day.
Yeah, but I'll have a max house, so like I won't be kicking myself that hard. And you can buy blood runes. I mean, it's inefficient to buy them because they're hella expensive, but like the scar mine that exists, they're not terribly expensive. Money is probably easier to come by than spending countless hours doing rune crafting to get the blood runes. So that's my future plans, and I'm really excited about them, because it's just like one step closer to having this account feel like a playable account, versus one that I'm just stumbling through. because I feel like I'm stumbling through it right now, at least a little bit. Stumbling through trying to have the gear that I want. You know, the house doesn't feel efficient because I have to go to a pool to do my stamina, and then I go to an altar to do my prayer. And like, if I could just get like a certain construction level, I could have health, spec, run, and prayer all in one click. And that's what I'm used to having normally when I play the game. So it's just going to make it feel more normal once all that stuff is done. It's good. So that's all that I had for this, for like my updates. I know that we're about 35 minutes in, and we should probably get to main title content.
Same. Yeah, we absolutely should. We're deep in this. We talked about Twitch for a while. That's what threw us off. But we're back. We're here. We got two major things to talk about. The first major thing is a bit of a small thing. It's important for the game. It's important for the community, but we're not going to spend a bunch of time on it because no matter what we discuss, the answer at the moment, at least on the day of recording on Sunday the 17th, is I don't know. We'll talk to the community about it. The other stuff seems a little bit more concrete, but I'm sure they're probably still going to make changes because people are still going to complain. First thing on the docket today is the God alignment prayers. We got to talk about them, dude. Like we said, no matter what we discuss with the God alignment prayers, it's going to end up as like we have to go to community consultation and we have to talk about it. I definitely have my opinions on some of these. Michael, I'm curious to hear yours.
So while I skimmed through the blog and I listened to the modcast, because I listened to the modcast that they did a couple days ago before I read the blog, because I know that things had changed. And after listening to the modcast, I'm like, I don't really even care to waste my time like getting into the nitty gritty, because things are so not volatile, but they're so loosey goosey right now with what they're actually planned. Yeah, subject to change. So for me to like try and dive in and understand what those prayers are, like they have 4 right now in the blog, and they're like, well, we want to cut that down to 3, but we don't know which one we're going to cut. So I'm like, what? I'm not even going to read it. To me, it doesn't seem worth it to even. I know the gist, like there's different God alignments, and the prayers they're kind of themed around the God itself. But overall, what each prayer does, I don't know. But the idea of the prayers is more so what I think we care about. Not like, ooh, this one does this set effect and this thing here. But like, it's the idea of having these God alignment prayers on top of on top of the prayer book that we have, and not a totally new prayer book. Because I think that's what is like the main, like the nitty gritty of what we're trying to get here. Because with the Ruinous prayers last year, it failed miserably, because the idea was that you had a whole new prayer book and you're trying to supplement things on this prayer book that people need for everyday content. And so it's like, well, if we're going to have a prayer book, we gotta have protection prayers. We got to have this. We got to have that. What about preserve? What about this? And it just became something like, oh, this is just the standard prayer book with a little bit of changes and some like graphics updates. Yes, there was like OP prayers on there. And unfortunately, I didn't use any of those prayers during leagues. So to speak on the specifics of each of the new ones, I won't be able to do that. I would leave that to Oxie. But like the idea that you had to get a whole new prayer book was just overwhelming for people. So I think Ninja Pig's idea of having God alignment prayers that are just a supplement to the standard prayer book and not like a whole new one is a fantastic idea. And I'm so glad that they're rolling with it. And it adds a lot of like opportunity to retroactively reward you for a Grandmaster quest, and it gives them opportunity in the future to have a Zamorakian Grandmaster, a Saradomin Grandmaster, a Bandosian, or whatever. Like all of these different gods are going to have a way that they can, they're going to give us a way to unlock these prayers by doing something really, really difficult. I think that's the most important part, not what is the Guthix prayers going to do? What is the nitty gritty? You know what I mean?
I feel like what the prayers did was kind of important. And I agree with the nitty gritty idea that like how these are going to be implemented is the complicated part. I did read the blog the day it came out. I did look at all the specific prayers. I did take the survey and I did talk about it with them when I filled out the survey. I'm pretty sure the survey was closed. Right. They're on the right track with this. But I think what's going to get in the way of these God alignments forever is the community. And this is probably my bigger gripe, right? There are small things that I looked at and I was like, like for this Seren one, harmonize and guiding strikes together could be a disastrous combination. It could really adjust like speed times. It could really adjust how people play in combat, because the problem is once something becomes objectively best in slot in a majority of places, no one's going to take anything else. It's the problem we have with the Shadow. It's the problem we had with the Blowpipe. If we introduce something that is going to be the ideal thing to use everywhere, we're going to run into an issue. So the Covenants of Light needed a lot of work to begin with, right? Mm-hmm. I think all of them needed a little bit of work, because if you look at something like Nature's Redemption, what is really different, you know, what is really different about Nature's Redemption and Crystalline Redemption other than the threshold which you fall below, right? Because Nature's Redemption just feels like regular redemption, you know, with a little bit of more health healed at the end. Like Nature's Redemption didn't seem that much different, where Crystalline Redemption, 25% of the base prayer level. Okay, so it's still 25 hit points when you fall below 20 hit points. You still get healed to the exact same amount when you're a max player. Like what's the difference here?
Yeah.
Right? How do these things differ from regular redemption, which is what, like 30, 35%? Like I feel like whenever I proc redemption, notably when I proc it at Vespula, I still end up with like 38 hit points. So like, what's it healing me by? You know, I guess that are a little bit different. Tiki says those two are explicitly defined to not be able to work together. He's referring to harmonize and guiding strikes. I do understand that, right? They're not allowed to work together. But when you have a prayer that makes an enemy take X amount more damage, and you combine that with another prayer that increases the attack bonus of other players so they don't miss, right? You're setting up a huge DPS increase, because who's to say that like the tank at Bandos prays guiding strikes and everybody else prays harmonize? Who's to say the guy red Xing at Baba prays guiding strikes, everybody else prays harmonize, right? Like you get a designated guiding striker, and then what's the radius that it works for players? Is it like a pot share where it only works for a certain amount of players, or is it a radius based thing where it works for everyone with like a 3-tile radius of the player? Like what does that look like, you know? And it's like a direct DPS increase, and none of these specify that you can't use them with things like piety or rigor or anything like that. And I think that's another issue, right? I think that's the issue with all of these combat-based prayers, is there's nothing that says they can't already be utilized with existing prayers that make a pretty significant difference in combat, right? I think, you know, some like Nature's Succession, damage above X% of your minimum hit points heals nearby allies for Y% of damage taken, consumes prayer points per player healed. That feels complicated, right? I like what they're cooking with. I like that they're trying to get into more like a roles based thing. Because I think if we had more specific roles in combat, we could open up a lot more potential. Like right now, the only real roles that we have broadly speaking, to get like as broad as possible, are like the tank and the DPS.
Mm-hmm.
There's no healer role. There's no specialist role. There's no support role. Everybody does a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
And if we're adding layers with prayers to kind of build those out a little bit more, so we can then design content that involves a lot of players, we're like, oh, I'm a bitchin' specialist in raids 4. Kind of like how I'm a good North Freezer in raids 2, right? I'm good North Freeze. I'm good melee hand. I'm good to not come to raids 3. Like if I can be a good specialist or support or a healer, I think that expands what we can do with combat without really altering it to a point of overcomplication. I don't think they hit the mark on all the prayers. That's why they're going back and changing them.
Yeah.
My bigger issue with these prayers in general, I don't understand why everyone and their mother is so up in arms about these prayer changes. The amount of people that I have seen, content creators, streamers, YouTubers, members of the high level community, all I keep seeing is wah evolution of combat. That's what it feels like. And is this a perfect blog post? Absolutely not. No, we have a lot of work to be done, and I think taking it to community consultation is the next step. But the broader issue I see here, right, is you don't want this additional layer of complexity added into combat, right? You don't want another thing to have to think about in combat because you want it to stay as simple as possible. Nothing about the combat in this game is simple anymore. Y'all understand that? Right?
Yeah.
Like Slayer is about as simple as it gets. KBD, Giant Mole, Barrows, that's about as simple as like combat bossing gets. When you talk bosses that need to have, they need to interact with elements of their environment in order to be damaged. They need to be hit with certain kinds of damage at certain times. You need to be specific with prayers, with movement, with supply management. Nothing about combat is simple anymore, right? When you even take a piece of content that was inspired by a piece of existing content, every player knows, who has played this game for at least a little bit of time, knows that the fight caves and the Inferno are a totally different level of gameplay.
Yeah.
That you get into. It's totally different, right? Is the end result the same? Is the pressure the same? Absolutely. You don't have to flick for shit in the fight caves. Right? You don't have to. You can get, there's a reason people can get through it with 60, 70, 75 range and not have an issue. There's a reason people can get through it without understanding pathing and the tick system and all these other things, right? The stuff that you kind of need to do well in the Inferno, right? I don't think this game is as simple as people romanticize it to be. And where my gripe comes with all this complaining is, what do you want? Right? Because we don't want a new prayer book, which frankly, after having used the Ruinous Powers, they're a great Leagues edition. I don't think the Ruinous Powers are the best because, frankly, and this is going to sound hypocritical, they are a little bit overpowered for what they are, right? When you talk about something like Decimate, right? When you talk about Umbra's Vow, sometimes they are a little stronger than maybe what they needed to be, right? But they had some unique utility prayers, right? They had the what's the prayer that took the tick delay off of eating? I don't remember what it was called.
Oh. I don't know.
But like that, like they're cool. They're unique. We don't want a new prayer book, right? The new God alignments seem to be rubbing everybody the wrong way. Everything I've seen on Twitter is like, how about instead of designing this, you shut the fuck up and don't do anything to give new content? Like it's just such an overwhelmingly negative response. But we also don't want new best in slot items either. This community's got a real weird thing with power creep where we really don't want new best in slot items. We got a new best in slot range that people are pissed about because it's cheap. And we got a new best in slot melee. and people don't want a new best in slot mage because it came out 8 years ago, right? We don't want to see new best in slot weapons, right? Because even I literally just said best in slot weapons cause problems with existing content because they can't design a weapon based on existing bosses and still make it best in slot. So we don't want new best in slot weapons. And yet for some reason, none of the content we get is good enough. I get it. You got dozens of thousands of hours into this game and you don't think Whisperer is that hard. You don't think Awakened DT2 bosses are that hard. Dog. What do you want from the rest of the community? Right? Like what do you actually want as a reward? This is where, like, again, I know I sound kind of hypocritical by saying the Ruinous Powers prayer book itself was probably didn't have the proper place in old school at the moment. And I know that when I complain about the shadow being too OP, I'm in the same headspace as people, right? When we don't want new gear, we don't want new weapons, we don't want new prayers. What do you want as a reward? What is going to be worth your time to kill bosses? Because everybody wants to PVM for a reward. We've got people want to make money. People want new best in slot gear. But to what extent do we actually want these things? And this is what's been driving me crazy about the Ruinous Powers. Because if not this, then what?
Mm-hmm.
We don't want the Dragon Claws to leave the Chambers table because we know what's going to happen to the price. And the price is something that a lot of us in the PVM community value. And we don't want to see that price go down, right? But we already have Tormented Demons. We have Demonic Gorillas. They already have a best in slot drop that they provide to us, right? Do you want another quest boss that drops a best in slot item? Because if I remember correctly, the last quest monster that they released that dropped the best in slot item was met with, why do you only need to have base 50s and 60s to get the best in slot melee helm? The jaw should come. Shut the fuck up. What do you want from this quest? Because the rewards don't seem that interesting without the god alignments. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. Right? I'll have another similar gripe when we get to skilling about the virulent dislike of any sort of advancement. I'm sure Michael's going to resonate with this one too. But this is my biggest issue with the god alignments. They release something, they release a pitch, we push back so aggressively that we end up back at square -10. And now we got to work backwards and trudge through what the community wants. With a non-zero chance at the end of all this, they just say, you know what? No. And we get, I don't know, story satisfaction as a quest reward. Like, I don't know what is going to come if it's not this from While Gothic Sleeps. I just don't know.
Or they just stop releasing content. Like, we could just slow down to where we get a Grandmaster quest every like 2 years or something, instead of like really progressing these storylines and offering meaningful rewards. Because you're right, like, what are you going to get from While Gothic Sleeps if they're not doing Dragon Claws and they're not doing this prayer alignments? What is there to what is there? If it's not a new best in slot and it's not a prayer upgrade, what are we going to get other than, like you said, just a meaningful story ending? I don't want that. I don't want to spend.
Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I want that. I want that real bad.
That. Like, it would.
I want Mod Ed. I want Mod Ed to cook on that one. But
I would still do the quest, and I would still vote yes to having them put the quest in the game if there was no true, like, oh, maybe you just get a bunch of XP at the end.
But that's the issue. The quest is coming to the game.
Yeah.
Right.
I guess you're right. Like, it's.
Like, there's not really
greenlit.
You're not gonna like. Yeah, they're not really voting on whether or not we want the quest to come to the game. It's what we want out of the quest, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. To me, it seems like maybe you are in a bit of a bubble with the Twitter community because you do follow a lot of the high-level community people there. But, I mean, browsing Reddit, it doesn't seem like it's as big of an uproar as what it might be in the Twitter bubble.
I don't think I've seen a single positive tweet about the god alignments on Twitter. I've seen clips of people like Nine Rain bitching that prayer is not engaging. Why is this a reward? I've seen both people who are known and unknown present. Adicon released a whole goddamn novella about why the new prayers are not good. The new god alignments aren't good. You saw It's Will like post the stats of Ninja Pig and be like, do we really want this guy determining what high level combat is? Like, are you fucking kidding me, guys? What do you want out of this fucking game? People did call him out on it, which I did kind of appreciate, because like that's just out of pocket, dog. What do we want as a quest reward? I understand this game and its combat and the way it works is so important to us. It's why we're here. I'm not saying I want combat to evolve. Games evolve over time. This game in 2024 is not the same game it was in 2020, in 2014, or in 2007. We all know that. Darox Plateleg's finally a new drop. We all know that. We all know that. That's not the same. We as adults have to accept the fact that it's not the same. And in order for it to continue to progress, we need to accept that changes are going to happen. Now, are we passionate about the changes that happen? Yes, absolutely. Do we have a loud voice that's not going to shut up no matter how much people like me are going to push back on it? Yes, absolutely. Because as much as I complain about it, I'm also a part of that voice. I read some of the skilling stuff and I thought, I don't know if that has the player's like best interest in mind, right? Particularly when we talk about like some of the Slayer, like the bug basher, but we'll touch on that here in a little bit. I don't know. This is just what irked my nerves so hard when reading this, that like maybe I'm overreacting a bit. I don't know. I
think you may be.
I had to let that bitch out because it's just been negativity about these new prayers.
Yeah.
Just fine.
Yeah, like I don't know. To me, it doesn't seem that OP, and I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. Like, for people to be complaining about it, you look at them and they say, you know, I got Blood Torva and it wasn't that hard. Well, you are very much the minority here because it is hard. If you can speedrun Tob, I think your opinion on most content is going to be not irrelevant, but a little outdated, I would say. If you're speedrunning the Inferno for fun, it's going to be hard for you to connect with the greater community, who most people don't even touch hard mode Tob or the Inferno or Blood Torva. Those are cool things to do, and they're in the game for a reason. But like Oxie said, if you're 17,000 hours deep, 200 Infernos deep, like, go play another game. Get a challenge. Challenge yourself in other ways. I don't know.
Yeah, and I don't think that, like, obviously all of our opinions matter, but like sometimes the opinion is a little out of touch.
Right? But they think that's their opinion. They think that their opinion is the only one that matters. That's why they're being like, so loud about it.
There's when you have that level of like ultimate mastery of every system of this game, it's fair to say that like you know what you're talking about when it comes to this game. We're not saying that like the HLC, particularly in the PVM space, is uneducated in what they're talking about. It's that sometimes you're thinking about these changes in a scope that isn't gonna affect most of the player base. It's not even the dedicated ones, right? Like, you're talking about changes in a scope that's not gonna affect Michael and I, right?
Yeah.
And we're in this bitch forever, right? We got fucking tattoos, and we're gonna play this game till the fucking server is shut down.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes we all need to, like, even Michael and I need to take a step back and like look at the scope with which we play this game in, and maybe realize that like maybe some of these changes are a degree beyond what we are used to doing.
Yeah.
And perhaps that's why we don't agree with all the changes all the time. Because Michael and I have had updates that we think are dumb as shit, and they come to the game anyway, right? Like
Scurious could have been looked at as such a waste of time. But to me, I can view it in a different way of saying, wow, this is actually really engaging content for people
Rat
who
Boss, the best update this year.
Yeah, sure. Like it's engaging content for people who may not know how to do the things that we know how to do. And I think that is something that these people that you're talking about are not in touch with, because it's not that they're uneducated. You said something like, we think that they're uneducated because they have a bad opinion. It's not that they're uneducated. It's that they're out of touch.
I said they're not uneducated. They know when you have that
right.
mastery,
Nobody's
you know
saying that they're uneducated, but we're saying that they're out of touch. Potentially. I haven't read anything to know definitively, but I think I understand where you're coming from. Is like, stop being so out of touch that you think that this is a bad thing, when in the greater scope of the game, it's not power creep. It's just something new to add a little spice to the game, because the things that they're doing are obviously going to be, ran by the community consultation with betas and things like that. And so it's not going to be, I think that's one thing that they harped on in the modcast. A lot of people are like, how are you going to avoid what happened with EOC? And Kieran straight up and like, what we're doing right now is how we're avoiding what happened with Evolution of Combat. We're talking to you. We're doing betas. We're having polls. Like, there's no way that it's going to get to the point where this game turns into EOC, because the developers are players of the game and they don't want it. They don't want that for this. Not that it's bad.
He even said in the recording booth chat, it is power creep. Power creep has to happen. So, like we said a couple episodes ago, RuneScape is not a vertically designed game. When a new piece of content comes out, in general, it does not invalidate every single piece of content that has come before that, right? That's a World of Warcraft expansion pack. Everything new is better than the last X pack. We discussed that. That's a system that works. RuneScape works on a horizontal sphere, right? There's only a limited amount of space with what the game can do. That horizontal space can only go so far until you just have to go up a level.
Yeah.
Right?
Or it's snapped.
We lasted, Jesus Christ, 8 or 9 years with the same best in slot armor. We saw Chambers, Zulrah, the Inferno, and Theater of Blood with Armadillo and Bandos being the best in slot armor, right? Like, we saw all of these things because the community is so against power creep. And no, I'm not looking for a new best in slot melee armor. I'm not looking for a new best in slot magic armor right this second. But in order for this game to go anywhere, there's got to be something better eventually, right? We can leave the prayers untouched all we want, and what will happen is it's just going to fade into it's just a boring side mechanic. You say it's not engaging. I wonder why it's not engaging. Because you get to 77 and you got nothing left to do. Technically, you get to 74. That's all that matters. The only prayer level in this game that fucking matters is 74. You got 43, you get to 70, and then you get to 74. And you have all the best in slot damage prayers, and then you still have 11 fucking million experience to go. 12 million experience to go to get 99, right? Like, no shit, prayer is not engaging. Because you've unlocked it and you've interacted with it so early on in your account, there's nothing new for it. What if prayer was engaging? What if there was a tier 98 tribrid prayer that we could utilize in various elements of combat? What if with these god alignments, you can't fucking use them some places? What if the power of the Desert Pantheon was so aggressive with a Masket's takeover that your god alignments did not respond when you entered into the tomb, right? What if the God Wars dungeon functioned in such a way that if you're aligned with Zamorak, you can't deal damage to Krill. So the benefits you would get from a Zamorakian God alignment don't fucking matter. Like, what is stopping us from that kind of expansion? But eventually it's got to be vertical. Prayer is boring. Prayer is boring. You get it done so early on in your account. If you're a main, it's really not that expensive. And if you're an iron, in the grand scheme of things, it's like 2,000 dragon bones. It's really not that much.
Yeah.
Like, I understand if you're an Iron Man, there's the additional layer of needing to get the prayers from raids and things like that. But you still get piety for free. And you use piety for free at 70 when you have base 70 combat stats. And you use piety for free when you have max combat doing a melee infernal cape. It's all the same. That's okay. I'm getting hot and heavy over this. And I don't even know where else to go here. Power creep has to happen. I know we want it to happen on our own terms, and I think everyone, including me, is okay with that. We cannot deny that eventually we need something better.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's not that I don't care. I'm going to preface that with what I'm about to say. It's not that I don't care about content and I just want it to be phased out. But I think for any game to thrive, the developers have to be developers in some sense. They have to be able to innovate and add new things to the game to keep people engaged. And that's not just from a business standpoint. That's from a player who loves the game standpoint. Like, unless this game is like pre-packed with content that we will never reach for the next 3 years and we're just discovering all this new stuff, they have to be able to innovate on the fly. You know, we didn't get a fully fleshed out game that people are still like discovering things. There's no endpoint. So we kind of have to build that story along the way. So for me, I really, when it comes to power creep and like phasing out old content, I think that's just par for the course over the course of time. Does it seem too soon to offer a new best in slot melee armor? Yes, because Torva came out recently. Blood Torva is the new hot craze. While it doesn't give you any excess stats, it is a status symbol. Next came out in 2021. So like we're still 3 years since the brand new best in slot armor has been released. Whereas, I mean, Barrows 2007, 2008, that's a long time. And it makes sense that Barrows is no longer the best in slot. But at the time, I think people were probably up in arms that like, what, now you want me to go do this and my Barrows is worthless? Like my money-making method is worthless? Yes.
I don't think that was the vibe. No. I don't think that was the vibe at all, because back then, what happened was people were like, oh shit, a new challenge that's harder than Bandos or harder than Barrows? I gotta fight this giant fucking goblin that attacks me with more than one prayer style while I'm getting absolutely fucking dog walked by these minions the entire time. Oh, by the way, and if I die, I'm not gonna be able to get back in time to get my Barrows gear? What the fuck do you mean? What do you, it wasn't like, that's the wildest shit I've ever heard. It wasn't like, oh, they're devaluing my Barrows gear. I don't like that very much. It's like, holy shit, we got new content to engage with.
Mm-hmm.
That's what has changed over the years, because we're no longer kids excited about the new content. We care about the numbers as adults, which is a thing adults do, and that's fine. But
I guess that's a great point. It's like people work so hard to have their best in slot, and if that suddenly went away, their bank value would go down. And I think that at the end of the day, you're right. That's what people care about. And I've said it before on this podcast, but they need to ban the bank value plugin, because it is influencing so much of what people in the high level community care about. At the end of the day, and I'm not flaming anybody for doing this, but I hear it all the time. People will log in and they'll be like, wait, my bank value dropped 200 mil. What happened? If you didn't see that number, it wouldn't matter so much what gear you had in the bank. Yes, you could like pull out a price checker and take everything out that you own. But at the end of the day, I think that is contributing to a portion of why people care so much, is because best in slot is not best in slot because the DPS, the finite numbers, matter so much.
I mean, it absolutely
it does, yeah, but for the majority of people,
that's by definition why they're best in slot.
I think they're more so best in slot because of the number that's associated with having them. Because if you look at what the minute difference is of Bandos to Torva, I'm saying it's not minute, but the difference of you can still kill things really efficiently with Bandos, and you can still kill things really efficiently with Torva, but having the difference in bank value makes people feel better. Having a single piece of Torva that costs more than 10 sets of bandos, like that's a huge status symbol. And I think that's what people are upset about, because if you release something different, then all of the stuff that you worked for is suddenly going to just like plummet in price. It's not to say that you can't still use your Torva, because you can. You can still, Torva will be very, very effective. But it's that balance of like keeping value to items as well as bringing new life to the game with new items. I think that may be where people's their fuss is really rooted in, which is unfortunate, because like I don't really care about bank value at the end of the day. Like I have a decent sized bank, but like when I log in and it's gone down 100 mil, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Sounds like Michael thinks we should ban Normiescape. No. Yes and no. No. I mean, if everybody was an Iron Man, I think this game would be kind of boring. Because like, I think the GE and like the aspect of being able to freely trade amongst people is a core mechanic of this game that makes it fun. Because a lot of Iron Men that I know still have a normal account that they play on sometimes. Like I know very few people who are 100% like, I only have an Iron Man. I don't even have a main account that I use sometimes. Like, I think it's still a great core mechanic to have the ability to trade people. So without like beating this dead horse, did you want to go ahead and just like rant about skilling stuff now?
Man, trust me, I can rant about skilling stuff. So the total bonus in strength, by the way, if you are curious, if you don't have either sets of the armor, Bandos top, Bandos bottom, and Ned is not face guard, which prior to 2021 were the best in slot of those three items, or give a grand total of, I think, 12 strength bonus. Torva gives a total of 18. So you get a max hit with the potential for 2 max hits when you factor in other things such as Primordials, Ferocious Gloves, Torture, Infernal Cape, Fernic, things like that. So you get a couple of additional max hits, which, as we know, what's the best way to kill a boss, Michael?
DPS.
Kill it faster. Exactly. The higher number you hit, the faster you kill it, the better it is. Skilling. Overall, I'm very positive about. We're going from killing to skilling. Yeah, I feel very positive about this blog update. Nice. It did lead to a very cynical, just like mean thought. Oh, though.
Okay. Do you care to share?
Oh, of course I do. My little podcast. Of course I care to share my thoughts. This is maddening. Reading this blog and knowing that we are never going to get a new best in slot training method. And I know you resonate with this more than anybody, but we are never going to fucking get new best in slot training methods for any of these fucking skills that come out, right? They're looking into a mining and a smithing rework. I don't expect we see that till 26. Because, like, you got a lot of work to do. You know, Chaos Cleric says, no, you'll devalue my max cape. Which, like, haha, very funny. But at the same time, like, I understand maxing is an achievement. I'm trying to do it myself, right? I'm here. I'm in the trenches. You know, I don't have a max cape. I got fucking base 90s. I've done at least a little bit of skilling in my time here in OSRS. I think the idea that like no piece of content that comes out is ever going to be best in slot is actually really sad.
Yeah.
Like there is no mining update. We already got our one update for most of the skills, right? We got our one update. We got our Winter Todd. We got our Sepulcher. But that's it. Right? Like we're not gonna get a new piece of best in slot content. We're not gonna do it. You know, they tried it with Volcanic Mine to be a new piece of best in slot content. But the design itself is so I don't know how to word it. it's not even niche. It's not as player friendly as I think they want it to be. Right? Because like there's no tutorial for volcanic mine. There's a specific number of people that have to go into volcanic mine. The games are timed. There's not an instance. It's like Guardians of the Rift, but also somehow kind of worse. In that you got to get in. There's no masses. There's no way for people to teach you this content, really, unless you're in VC with them. And the communities that do VM really well require you to know how to do VM before you get in there, right? Like, I'm not in VM Cord. I don't know if you are, Michael.
No.
I'm pretty sure there are like some pretty fucking strict requirements to get in and operate with VM Cord. And if they're not strict, there are requirements to at least get in, right? So Vengor says that fucking test made me close Discord so fast. They have a test on what you're supposed to do. So even the people who have the knowledge and potential to teach you won't teach you how to do it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And unfortunately with VM, if you make a mistake, you die. Right? It's just so, I guess the best word I can describe it is sad. Like, yes, it's frustrating. Yes, it's annoying. But I think overall, as a diehard fan of this game, I just feel sad reading a blog like this, and just like knowing in my soul that we're never going to get best in slot content. We're never going to get a new skilling meta that comes out because it just simply can't be faster than what already exists. It just simply can't be.
Well, now I'm sad,
quote unquote. And that's kind of where I'm sitting on it. Is like, we're going to have 4-person lava runners for the rest of our life. You know? And they've done a great job of releasing engaging content that makes skilling feel not so much like, you know, how long can I make it before I jump off a bridge simulator, right? With a lot of the skills, they've done it a lot better. But like, every new training method is never going to be best in slot. And that's just kind of where I sit with it. And that's just kind of why I'm sad about it. I know you have a very, very similar thought. So that said, cynicism about the overall future of skilling aside, I'm quite pleased with most of these QOL reworks are talking about. Some of them I just don't give a shit about. Some of them I think need a little bit of work. Okay. But overall, I'm pretty okay with most of them.
Yeah.
How do you feel about these as the resident skiller?
I share your sentiment with like the cynicism of, it's more frustration for me that like they won't just buff XP rates at this point. In the modcast, they touched on skilling a bit and talking about it. And like Kieran started out with like, you know, well, we're not just going to like 3x agility XP and call it good. I'm like, but why? Why does the sentiment and why does like the status have to be that, yes, agility has been slow and boring and not rewarding. So that's how it's going to be. And we're just going to tweak some things to make it still slow and boring, but more rewarding.
But more linearly slow and boring. I mean, I think, but like agility is such a funny example because agility is the only skill they've been able to do perfectly.
Perfectly.
Agility is the only skill where they've been able to do perfectly.
I don't
where
know,
you have
dude.
a giga fucking boring method. You click on the same bike. You don't even have to rotate your camera at Ardoyan, like you said last week. It's boring. It's consistent, but it's boring, right? But then they released a piece of content that is now the best agility XP per hour in the game. But in order to get that reward, you have to engage with a relatively challenging piece of content that not all players are very good at. And so not all players get that high level piece of content, but it's not gate kept by being able to 2-tick or 3-tick or 1.5 tick. It's not gate kept by having buku amounts of money to spend for people to run you supplies. It's gate kept by your individual skill as a player to get through the 5th floor of the Howled Sepulchre. I think agility is the only skill they have been able to perfectly implement that trade-off. Perfectly. Where it feels like 90k an hour for agility feels a lot better than 40k an hour, that's for sure. You know, does 90k an hour feel great? No. I also don't think every training method needs to be like construction. I think this is where you and I kind of differ a little bit, because I'm fine if a skill is slower, right? But when there's not a single method in the game to break 100k an hour, dog.
Yeah.
Like,
it's 2024.
Like something like I'm fine if we got mining or agility or rune crafting up to 100k an hour via methods of gameplay and skill. I'm here for it. VM needs some improvements, which I kind of touched on. I think agility is in a fine spot with the difficulty of Hallowed Sepulchre, though I think bumping it from, what is it, like 90k an hour right now if you do it perfectly? I don't have the XP rates in front of me.
Sepulchre, they
Sepulchre.
say once you hit floor 5, it's between 90 and 108,000 XP per hour.
Oh, see, then right there, no looting XP per hour. Realistic XP per hour with no looting is between 80 and 90 from what they said.
But that's if
on
you're
the wiki
good.
Right, but that's the thing. If you're good, you get that extra little bit of XP reward. And I kind of love that. I kind of love that mechanic. You know, I don't want... And yes, you can make an argument that, like, you're pretty good if you can 1.5 tick teaks. You're pretty damn good if you can do that. You can 2 tick swordfish. You can 3 tick. You got a level of skill that a lot of players don't have. And in some ways, yes, that should be rewarded. I don't necessarily know how I feel about that being the ultimate best, though. You know?
Yeah. I think
like
my thoughts on this are the idea that agility has to be slow because it has to be slow is dumb. And I've said it forever. If you guys have been listening to the show, this is my opinion on this has not changed. Buff XP rates to be over 100k and keep the same rewards. Like, give us the rewards and the XP. It makes no sense to me that at a level 60, tier 60 level course, their proposal is 55k an hour. And then at tier 90, the proposal is 70k an hour. You have a 20,000 XP per hour difference between 60 and 90. The amount of time it takes to get a level between 60 and...
For reference, is like 500k to like 5.3 million XP.
The difference between 61 to 62 is like maybe 30 to 45 minutes. Between, like, in comparison between 91 and 92 taking 10 hours. Like, it's insane to me that at 90 agility, even with the Sepulchre, you have to fight tooth and nail to get over 100k. It's insane. In the comparison that I draw with content that is like very, very easy, that you kind of get busted XP rates. Like, the only real comparison I have is Herbivore. You take Herbivore. What is the essence of Herbivore? Click green box, run around. The essence of Rooftops. Click green box, run around. Herbivore, at level 80, you get stock standard over 100k XP per hour. And it scales with your level up to 99. I think at 90, in the mid to high 90s, I was getting like between 120 to 150k an hour, which feels fine because it's not that hard and you're literally just clicking boxes and running around. Like, you can turn all of the assets off on your screen and literally just have the boxes on your screen and you do just fine.
Stop it. If you do that, get some help, dog. I'm sorry.
Doing
get
that,
some help.
It's your
get
choice.
Some help. Get some fucking help. Oh, God.
But when we look at those types of things that exist in the game as a precedent, it's not unrealistic to say that Ardoin Rooftops at level 90 agility could be 150k XP per hour and be just fine and not break the game. But because agility has historically been such a shitty skill, XP wise, and gameplay wise, and rewards wise, we have to keep it going. Because like Chaos Cleric said, it's going to devalue my Maxscape. I don't care.
But here's a, like, yes, obviously increasing XP rates by nature, I don't think devalues anyone's achievements, right? I don't think my level 99 mining, when it happens, is going to be devalued because somebody is able to get it in a little bit of better way than I have, right? I commend you for not being as miserable as I was, but I don't think 99 mining is no longer an important achievement. I think the nature of the kind of game that we play lends itself to a lot of people who feel a lot of pride in their achievements, right? I kind of compare it to like Pokemon Go back in the day, right? Way back in the day, Pokemon Go would release shinies that were only for like a specific day or only for like a small specific event. And it was awesome because they'd release them for that event and then they'd be super rare to find in the wild. But then they'd make a community day out of them. And community day was guaranteed shinies, more or less. Not actually guaranteed, but it felt guaranteed shinies. And it kind of felt bad to be like, I hunted this shiny for like 3 hours via field research. And it was hard. And I only got one. And some of my friends didn't even get shinies. And I got lucky and got one. And like, I feel accomplished for putting in the amount of work that I did. And now you're going to make it readily accessible to everybody. Like, I feel kind of cheated, you know? I understand where that sentiment comes from. And the idea with MMO players is like, the time that we put in is part of our achievement, right? Part of our credentials for being able to have these conversations with you guys is the combined 15,000 hours of gameplay that Michael and I have. Right? We've got the time to back up that we know what we're talking about. And I think a lot of players feel that way when it comes to skilling, right? They put in the work. Why now make it so much easier? I don't entirely agree with that take, but I think the nature of MMOs, because even if we look at something like World of Warcraft, right? Where like getting to max level in a new X-Pack with a new character takes 8 minutes. That's an exaggeration, but like hitting max level in World of Warcraft does not take nearly as long as it does for a game like old school RuneScape, right? But what's the trade-off? To get the item you want in World of Warcraft, to get the mount that you want, to get whatever other random rare shit that World of Warcraft has, it takes a long fucking time because you got to run boss after boss and then raid after raid, and they have like weekly timers on shit where you can only do the Theater of Blood of this new X-Pack once a fucking week, and if you don't get the drop, you gotta wait till next week, right? So MMOs in general have this like, you put the work in and therefore you show it via your accomplishments. That's why cosmetics are so important in games like this when they're earned and not purchased. I know the Infernal Cape isn't a cosmetic, but capes have always been a show of it. They're literally called capes of accomplishment, right? The Max Cape, the Diary Cape, the Music Cape, the Infernal Cape. They all have the Champions Cape. They all show people, look at what I did. Look at the hours I put in to do this content. I don't think we're ever going to be able to take that away from the community, to the point where, like, if we made the Arty course $150K an hour, I don't think we'd ever be able to accomplish that. I don't disagree that there should be faster methods. I just think that, like, just like a flat, like a blanket double, a blanket triple isn't the answer. I think it should be, just like with untradeable cosmetics, skill-based, right? You can't buy Blorva from the MTX shop, right? You got to be pretty fucking good at the game, or you got to have a lot of money to buy it like a rat bitch. Same thing with your Infernal Cape, in order to earn it. I think the same thing goes for skilling, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Tiki said, I'm curious and not trying to pick a fight. Oxie is referring to focus and skill, allowing higher XP rates, which means if you are better at the game, you do it quicker. And Michael, it sounds like you are just artificially wanting to shorten the game. And he said, the point above isn't saying that I'm wrong. Just curious if I can expand. And sure, I can expand. So artificially shortening the game to me is not a negative. It's still going to take you hundreds of hours. But if we can knock off, 100 of those 400 hours from 1 to 99 agility doing rooftops, it is a net positive for the enjoyment of this game, because at the end of the day, like, you could literally stop at 90 agility and never train it again, and have achievement diaries. I mean, if you want to go to 92, you could have all the items associated with agility. So to me, the grind past 90, or the grind past whatever the highest level is
Currently
about
93 for an unlock.
It's about it's about the cape of accomplishment, what Oxie was saying. And if that grind is shorter, it doesn't devalue the grind overall. So if I was in charge of the game right now, I would double what they have proposed for XP rates with agility. And I think that the game would still function just fine. And I think that people would still be just as accomplished with their 99 agility grinds if nothing else changed. If they didn't add any more shortcuts, if they didn't add any more unlocks, if they didn't add marks of grace to other courses like they're talking about. If they literally just said, we're going to double XP rates as they stand, and now at 90 agility, you are awarded with 140k XP per hour at full focus, because God knows if you're doing the RD course, you're not always going to be clicking the next obstacle immediately. Like, these XP per hour rates are if you are full focus, 100%, never slowing down, never not clicking the next box for an entire hour. So realistically, the average player is not going to get 70. They're going to probably get what the previous best in slot was, which was about 60 to 65.
Do you want me to be kind of shitty about it, though?
You can be shitty.
It doesn't take that much to full focus. I'm full focused at Motherload Mine right now. It's been an hour and a half, and you've not been able to tell. You want to know why? Because Motherload Mine is not an intense activity. If I were full focus at Howled Sepulcher, you would fucking know, because I wouldn't be responding to you with the accuracy that I have. It's the same thing that goes for rooftops or, AFK barbarian fishing. To be full focus in a lot of the skilling activities in this game does not mean that you're the meme of the guy sweating at the table.
I'm not saying it's the most difficult content, but I'm saying
every couple of seconds you got to click something that you can do while having a conversation, because you and I have done it for 144 weeks in a row. I think there's been 2 instances where I have recorded and not been logged in to play RuneScape. It's been real weird when I haven't been.
Yeah. I'm not saying that it's hard. It's not hard to full focus and just do rooftops for an entire hour straight without not looking away. But it's not realistic, is what I'm saying. It's not realistic because, for me, the hundreds of hours that I did agility and the 9,300 laps that I did of Artie, there were a lot of times where I'm doing other things, like I'm playing another account, or I get up and I leave to go to the restroom, and I'm just standing there in the middle of the rooftop for several minutes, and that happens a lot. So for the entire time that you're going to be training agility, it's not going to be 100% focused the entire time, because it doesn't require that. So, like I'm saying, it's not really the point, but if we were to double these XP rates, yes, at the top end, they're proposing you would get 140k an hour. I don't think that's unrealistic for a tier 90 skill unlock. When there are other things in the game, notably, there's a construction method that you unlock in the 50s, or I think actually 70 when you unlock mahogany. Mahogany tables are 800 to 900,000 XP per hour. And it requires almost no skill at all. You can set your mouse up in one location and swap between 2 different buttons. It's my frustration with how they're handling agility is based around the imbalance of other skills compared to agility. And agility just has to be shitty because it's shitty. There's no consideration to say, well, there's other there's other methods that share an intensity that offer this much XP. So why don't we balance it around that instead of balancing it around the skill itself?
What you're saying is the construction method that requires
I'm not talking about construction.
Hyper focus. No, hold on. The construction method that requires a ridiculous amount of focus to maintain 800 to 900k an hour. You've done it. I've seen you get 800 to 900k an hour. You don't talk to us in VC when you get 800 or 900k an hour because you can't pay attention. Right? So you're arguing when a skill requires that much focus, you should get that much XP, right? But that much focus doesn't translate to the arty course. That much focus doesn't translate to Motherlode Mine. It doesn't translate to drift net fishing. It doesn't translate to redwoods or teak trees or fucking gold bars. That level of, if I look away, I fuck it up, barely exists in this game right now. The only other place I can think of where if you miss a tick, you are punished on your XP rates is the hollowed fucking sepulcher. And that's why I think the best XP should come from that method. It's also fair to argue, is construction a little too fast?
Yeah.
Right? Is construction a little too fast for a game that takes hundreds of hours? Maybe, right? But I don't think trying to make low effort skilling reward twice as much XP, because if it's twice as much XP across the board, Hollowed Sepulcher gets bumped to 200,000. That's half the amount of laps that I have to do.
Sure.
That's 9 laps a day down from 18.
But that's not 200,000 XP an hour. For the amount of focus and skill that you need to complete the Hollowed Sepulcher is not unreasonable. I still don't think that's unreasonable. When you can get 200 to 250k at Arty Nights at 95 by just, I could literally, dude, I could set the phone up on the floor and tap with my foot and never look at the screen and get 250k an hour. And you think that like puffing, like literally doubling the Hollowed Sepulcher is unreasonable. That's what I'm saying. It's just like, I'm upset by the imbalance. And I think I might be alone in this camp because...
But not all skills are balanced the same way.
But that's the frustrating part is they're not. That's what's frustrating to me.
If all skills were balanced in the same way, this game would be boring.
I'm not saying they have to all give the same amount of XP per hour. I'm saying this is by and large disproportionately balanced. By and large, agility is disproportionately balanced compared to the other skills. Mining has gotten better. Runecrafting has gotten better. Agility has not gotten better.
How? We have not seen a best in slot improvement for mining or runecrafting in 10 fucking years.
You can get over 100k an hour at ZMI with the colossal pouch in dense essence in Dale essence.
Lava rune crafting. Lava rune
the colossal pouch
XP per hour with 4 fucking people is like 280k.
I'm not talking about runners. Michael. I'm talking about the colossal pouch that got released in Dale essence. It's decent.
But they're still not best in slot. Agility is the only skill next to fire making that has released a best in slot training method. It's genuinely the only one. Herbivore is
still not enough.
Slot. Black Chinchompas
I'm trying to say. It's still not enough.
But I think it's enough based on the pace the skill goes.
It's too slow.
Comparatively to what the pace of the skill is, I think it's okay to have the imbalance. I think it's okay to have a bell curve where most of your skills, right? Your combats, your wood cutting, your thieving, your hunter, your farming, your cooking. I think it's okay that most of them fall in the middle bit of the curve. I think it's okay that we have construction and fletching. Fletching, I think the world record is like 4 hours to get fletching done. I think it's okay to have a skill that's that fast. I also think it's okay, as much as this skill makes me want to start a shotgun, to have a super slow gathering skill to balance out the gameplay. Because I think if they're all the same pace, I think it's just kind of boring. I don't know.
I think the essence of my frustration is that they are trying to label this as a rework, and it doesn't, like, a balancing. They're trying to label this as balancing and rework, and to me, it's not doing enough to like.
I mean, I don't think
give you
rebalancing. I don't think rebalancing means improving. I think it means.
But I still don't think it's
every
enough.
time.
Like when I literally have the current and the proposed, right? So they're
looking at them too. I just don't think that it has to be that big of a. I don't know.
I think most people are upset by the fact that they're lowering Sears, and I don't really care. It makes sense. Like, you have other courses
I did say that. I did say that in the
to.
survey that, like, it does feel bad to nerf the Sears course. Like, as an experienced player who's probably never going to do the Sears course again on my main account, it does kind of feel bad to, like, have that reduced given its history as an experienced player. It's also understandable that, like, maybe we make a course that is supposed to be where Sears is not feel like fucking garbage. Maybe we make the Polniviac course worth it if you do the diary, right? And worth it if you don't do the diary. If you don't do any hard diaries, maybe it's worth it that the course that's at 70 feels better than the course that's at 60, you know?
Mm-hmm.
With Prif, I think they're untouching the pieces of agility content that are good, right? They're untouching. They're not touching Prif, but they're touching Ardoyan, because Ardoyan and Prif are about the same XP rates per hour. But they're making Ardoyan a little bit better. And I think that's a fair trade.
It still is not enough. Like, I'm looking at these even more. Like, when you go to Relica with the Hard Frenetic Diary at 80, you're getting 65k. And then their next proposal, 10 levels later, it's only a 5k XP per hour bump to go to RD. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, you should have a more rewarding progression of XP per hour as you go along. Like, the difference between a level 70 method at the like you said, like 75 Prif, it's saying the same, maxing out at 66k. 75 agility versus 90 agility is a difference of 4k XP per hour. In my book, that's nothing changed. 4k at XP per hour. You could be doing it for 4 extra hours and get 16,000 more XP. It's negligible. It's a negligible change from 75 agility to 90 agility. It's frustrating. I think I'm valid in the frustration that I'm feeling that, like, looking at these numbers, they're not good enough. Everything else in this blog, I'm fine with. Like, the things that they're doing is fine. I just think that the XP is very much still not where I think it should be. And like I said earlier, I may be alone in this camp, but I still am frustrated by it. Because I don't really care about Sepulchre. I think that's probably where some of this is coming from. Is like, I think Sepulchre is okay in its level of fun. I don't love it. It's very frustrating, and I think that the XP per hour that you are rewarded with doesn't match the amount of effort that it takes to do the skilling method. Because I would say that it is the most difficult piece of skilling content for me. Maybe not for everybody else. There's people who can probably do it while they're watching a movie. But like, for me, it's just like, I have not sat down enough to make it something that clicks in my brain. And it's not worth it enough for me to say, I could be getting 90k doing this with a lot of effort and a lot of, like, I have to pay so much attention to this, or I'll just go and do a rooftop course and get a little bit less XP per hour. And it maybe takes a little bit longer, but I can dedicate my mental capacity to something else when this grind sucks so bad. Like looking at my maxing grind, agility was the worst.
Then maybe that's the elitist in me. I don't think we should buff the strength bonus to the fire cape by 2 because you can't get an infernal cape. I don't think that's fair. I'm not saying you specifically. I mean, like, that's not fair at all. I don't think that's how that should go. The infernal cape is an item that, yes, gives a bonus. You get rewarded for exhibiting a high level of skill to complete it. I think the same thing applies for Hallowed Sepulchre and the Ardoyan Rooftop. One of them is relatively easy to do, that doesn't require a whole lot of focus, that has a pretty fair enough XP rate for a skill that has historically been slow. And I know your argument is, why does the skill have to feel slow? Because just like they said earlier, you grind for gear in WoW, you grind skills in RuneScape. That's just part of what the MMO grind is in this game. An MMO without a grind is not something people want to engage with, I don't think. That's why people burn out of leagues so quickly. They get everything they want in the first 4 weeks, and then they fuck off and leave. Right? I think part of that extension of the grind is what keeps people playing. You know, I don't love the idea of like artificially making the game longer. Like Tiki said that you're making it shorter. I don't like the idea of making it longer. But I definitely think that like difficult gameplay should be rewarded with higher levels of XP for skilling. I think agility is the only skill they've gotten right. I think they're making amends with thieving a little bit, with pickpocketing. I think the stall changes are going to be niche, cool, whatever. I'm not going to use them, but sure. They're not really touching Slayer XP rates, and I don't feasibly know how they touch mining XP rates at all. I don't love all the mining changes they're making. I gotta level with you. Because the only way to train mining, they can't after the Duke nonsense. Kind of exactly, right? Like, just kind of shift gears away from agility. Like, the way that you train mining at the level higher than like 30 is not the way that people intended. Like, when you think of mining in RuneScape, you think of mining the fucking ore veins, the little rocks. Nobody does that. You can power mine, but you generally only power mine to get the mining gloves, right? Nobody trains that adamant ore to 85 mining to do that, right? And I feel like the game has made mining more complicated without explaining how these more complicated systems work. Not everybody knows that the upper level of Motherlode Mine is on a timer. So they feel like they have to compete for ore veins because you have to compete for ore nodes out in the wild. So why wouldn't the same thing apply? Nobody knows the specificities of volcanic mine such that you don't kill the team. Nobody knows how to. I don't even fucking know how to do blast mine. Does anyone know how to do blast mine? Because I sure as don't.
It's not fun.
The only recent training method that is anything remotely like the mining that we knew as children is shooting stars, and that's been the most contentious fucking update they've had since EOC, I feel like. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, dude.
I think that the Motherlode mine changes are really decent. Adding a hopper to the upper floor is going to be huge.
Oh, baby, that'll be beautiful.
And then they're extending the timers of the upper floor. Like, I don't see how any of this is a bad idea.
I don't think they're bad ideas. I think they need to be expanded. I think if people don't know how the upper floor works, the upper floor is going to turn into a shit show. We let 57 mining come up there. We let people who don't know how it works come up there. Veins are going to be clogged. There's going to be way more people up there. I know this is elitist Oxie rearing his ugly head. I know what it is. But I think if we're going to expand the amount of people that are going to be up here, we have to teach the people how to do it. I don't even care that they're making the prospector one piece and not the entire outfit. Like, do I think it's kind of funny to watch people have to get the whole outfit? Yeah, I do, because it sucked for me and it sucks for you too, bitch. But like, I don't care. I fucking have the diary stepped on. Well, it doesn't bother me. It makes new accounts easier for me to operate. And as someone who's hopefully done with this skill forever, because I have the rock golem, as someone who's done with this skill here very soon, changes mostly seem pug. I think we just need more tutorials, you know?
Yeah. I think, well, I'm just reading over these again. Everything that they're doing is, and I guess you may need to expand on what you think or what you mean by just making it more complicated. Because everything that they're doing, in my mind, makes Motherlode Mine less complicated. You have longer timers for the bottom floor, or making timers rather than a chance to deplete. You're giving the upper floor longer timers. You're having the upper cap of, like, giving the sack an upper cap rather than having you guess when it's going to be full. So they're just allowing you to put 107 in there, not that you have to get it to 80 and then like weird game mechanics to make it go to 107. They're just making it 107. So if you have too many ore in your inventory, now you're just going to have those ore be in your inventory, or they'll go to the next deposit. So like everything they're doing is making it so you don't have to think about Motherlode Mine as much.
No, I don't think the changes they're making overcomplicate mining. When I said overcomplicated, I mean Motherlode Mine compared to mining iron ore veins like you do to get to Motherlode Mine is far more complicated. I think Motherlode Mine as a whole compared to click rock, get ore, click next rock is more complicated. And I think there's not an explanation of that because the lower level of Motherlode Mine at the moment works kind of like click rock, get ore with a couple of extra steps. The upper floor does not. And I think if we add timers in there, nothing is explicitly going to say you don't just click rock, get ore here. You click rock, you wait 30 seconds, you get as many ores as you get in 30 seconds, and then you click the next rock. And then you almost kind of get ore, but you got to do some more steps, right? I just feel like when you look at the two side by side, MLM is more complicated. And if you're going to add these quality of life changes that people don't understand, Tiki even said, make them do a shitty tutorial, you know? Make them do a shitty tutorial. I don't know. That's fine. Have them do a shitty 2-minute Prospector Percy says, what's up, fucker? Here's how you do MLM. Here's how it works on the upper floor and the lower floor. And if you have any questions because you didn't pay attention to a fucking word I said, I'll give you the tutorial later when you get to the upper floor. Like, I feel like that's a much better trade-off.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
But I think overall, like,
great, but we have
changes,
the wiki.
Yeah, you have the wiki, but
what?
Not everyone utilizes it. Clearly, not everybody utilizes it.
I think you have a different view of Motherlode Mine because, one, you hate the skill. I
do
don't.
Hate the skill.
I quite like Motherlode Mine. And two, you get really jaded when people like ruin your ore flow or whatever.
Get it? Stay out of my way.
That's what, like, that's your viewpoint on it. For me, when I did my hundreds of hours of content at Motherlode Mine, I didn't care. Like, I would just mine whatever vein was available, and most of the time, I mean almost all the time, I was never without a vein. Even if there was like 2 or 3 people mining with me, I never had to like leave my spot to go find a new vein. And so I'm not as jaded when when like I didn't have to have an entire row to myself, and I didn't have to like mine this one, this one, and this one. I just jump around. It's not that big of a deal. It's not that complicated. And so this is not going to make it more complicated. This is just going to make it to where maybe you don't need.
I'm not saying these changes complicate Motherlode Mine further. Motherlode Mine is more complicated than the fucking tutorial island. Click on the rock, get the ore, stick it in the furnace. You can't say Motherlode Mine is not more complicated than that.
At its essence, Motherlode Mine is click on an ore, get a rock, deposit it. Like, that's it. You get a rock, you clean it off. It's pretty straightforward. When you're getting into the nitty gritty of like, how long does this vein last before I have to move to my next one? And like, how many do I need to put in the sack before it's full? Like, they're really just making all that more straightforward. That to where you wouldn't need. I agree with you. Right now, Motherlode Mine could use a tutorial. But after these proposed changes, I don't think you would need a tutorial. That's just me
definitely
personally.
Still think you do. I definitely think without the knowledge that the timers exist, because they've even said in the recording booth chat, the wiki isn't working. The wiki assumes people can read when these motherfuckers spacebar everything. That's a beauty from Chaos Cleric right there. I think, like, with the assumption that, oh, this works like every other piece of mining. If you have a totally new player who does not utilize the wiki, it's going to be chaos. There's going to be people all over the place with the timers all in flux everywhere, right? Assuming this is like millions of people mass MLM at the same time. I don't know. I feel like there's just got to be more put into this for new players to get better value out of it than there is just add these QOL changes for experienced players. Because, like, yeah, the QOL changes are overall going to be nice. It's just, that's my concern. I don't know. I've voiced my concerns about mining.
And we have to take your concerns with a grain of salt, I think.
Coming from let's make the game easier.com.
I don't know why I'm getting flamed for that still at this point. I think you're
Double
acting
XP
like I want to
Double
like
XP Weekend over here is not a fan of the agility
One
reworks.
skill.
Mr.
One skill.
Elitist is not a fan of the Motherlode Mine reworks.
One skill.
I'm not even not a fan of them. I just think we need to fucking teach people how to do MLM before we get a bunch of shitters in there who are lined up next to each other on 5 veins in a row on the upper floor. And then, okay, cool. All of that pathway is fucked up. It's all fucked up for everybody.
But you know what
you can have
do when
5
that
people
happens?
DD on the same thing.
You hop worlds. You hop worlds and find your new world if that's how you want to play your Motherlode Mine. Because obviously they don't care. They're still there. They're still doing it. There's 5
Ignorance
people all
is
there.
bliss, baby. Ignorance is bliss.
Anything else you want to cover in this? Any other notable changes?
The bug bashers, probably the only other thing that I read the blog. Read the blog. Be up to date on the changes that are happening. It'll be linked in the description of this episode, the Project Rebalance stuff. It shouldn't work at Tob or it shouldn't come from a level 7 Slayer monster. Like, this bug basher should work in very niche areas if it's going to come from a lower level monster. And I know the counterpoint is like, you realize you can get the Swiftblade at level 3. You realize you can get the ham joint from Easy Clues, right? I feel like Easy Clues are take significantly longer amount of time than killing a cave bug does.
You can get the ham joint from the GE, dude. What are you talking about? You get the Swiftblade from the GE. So, like, if they had a bug basher...
You're the Iron Man, Michael. You know what I'm talking about.
You can't make this game with an Iron Man in mind. If there is a thing that comes from a level 7 monster...
I think it's an unfair logic to have. Because you can't not make this game with Iron Man in mind. They're a part of the ecosystem. They're like mosquitoes, but they're part of the ecosystem nonetheless, right? I think artificially inflating the value of a drop from a level 7 monster because it becomes the best in slot at the hardest piece of group content in the game, I don't know how I feel about that. Because the Swiftblade's like, what, 12 mil right now? Because it's harder to get. So yeah, Swiftblade's about 12. Ham joint's about 4. Ham joint's 2 from a clue scroll. I don't know. I just feel something about that kind of rubs me the wrong way, that the bug basher could come from a low level or that it could work at Nilokos. I'm not sure. I don't know which one I like less about that. I don't know.
I think my opinion would just anger you, so I'm gonna
go
stay quiet.
Go ahead, say it, please, by all means. Say
I've pretty much said it. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, the amount of the where it comes from doesn't matter. It would only be a net positive for the lower level players, that if you're doing Slayer and suddenly now you get this drop that's like a mil from a level 7 bug, but it doesn't happen very often. It just makes it more like makes it more worth for them. Like, it's like a win-win for both. Like, I don't see why it's a bad thing if it's a win-win for both sides of the coin. Like, if there was a very big negative attached to like a low level Slayer monster. Okay, so take it like this: if there was a massive negative impact on somebody who has 7 Slayer getting what was it, like a cave bugs task? Is that what the one that they want to do it off of?
Mm-hmm.
If somebody has their first cave bugs task and they get this little bug basher weapon, if there was a massive negative implication to them getting it, it would feel really weird. But it's only a positive because they just got something that, one, they can use for the rest of their cave bug tasks that make it really cool. And like, if they add a classification to more bugs in the game at their skill set, now they have a cool charged weapon that allows them to kill these things faster and get through that early game faster. Or if they don't want to use it, they can sell it to a high level player who wants it to use it in one specific room of one specific raid. Unless, of course, they make it work in TOA and also in chambers because there's bugs in both of those. But like, that's notwithstanding, you can sell that to a higher level player who could also want it. And it's just feeding the economy in both sides. The person who got it for their raid is going to feel better because they got a new best in slot. And the person at the lower level who farmed it is going to feel better because now they have something that they contribute to the economy that gets them a little bit of GP in their pocket to help them in the early game. Because early game sucks balls, and you know that.
All right. If early game does suck balls, here's the thing. If this weapon works at Theater of Blood, none of what you said happens. You want to know why? Because the best way to make sure this item retains its value is to lock it behind a Slayer task. To lock its rarity behind a Slayer task, which, what's a feasible drop rate for you for an item from a level 7 monster whose average loot is 313 GP per kill? What's a drop rate that you'd be happy with if locked on a Slayer task?
I mean, like 1 in a couple hundred, 1 in 500.
Okay, 1 in 512. That's a pretty average rate for a Slayer drop.
Sure.
That's the Dark Bow. That's the Abyssal Whip. That's the Granite Maul. Cave bugs have 5 hit points.
But you get them assigned in like what, like quantities of 30? So that you're doing lots of different cave bugs tasks.
So now you're forcing these low level players who want to make money to not go to the higher level Slayer Masters. You're forcing them to go to Turiel. You're forcing them to go to Mazkana. You're forcing them to go to Spria to get the cave bug task, to then maybe get a shot at the drop, right? The Dark Bow is a frustrating drop because you only get 9 Dark Beasts per task, but it's not locked on task. Dark Beasts have a level 90 Slayer requirement, and they have a lot of hit points. And here's the thing, the Dark Bow's still not valuable, right? So that's the other issue, right? Unless you put this at a ridiculous drop rate that lower level players are not going to be able to achieve when Turiel gives you 17 of these fucking things, when the drop rate's 1 in 512 or 1 in 1,000 on a task only drop table that you're implementing. If it's not task only, guess who comes in to take all the drops? 2 groups of players. Can you think of who they are? The elites who can blow pipe the fucking bugs, and the bots. And this item goes from what could be a 25 mil necessity for North Freeze and E-Girl Nilo, because the minimum hits of fucking 5 on Nilos, right? This goes from a super expensive item to absolute chump change alch value.
Tiki brings up
and
a good
we all
point.
know they don't want the alch value to be high.
Give it.
What's the good point?
His point is, I know it's really a point, but like a suggestion here. Give it a different drop rate off tasks. Off task, he's saying 1 in 1,000. On task is 1 in 512. I would go even further to say, if this
make it
really
1 in 10,000 off task.
Exactly. Like give it an absurd drop rate, because you're right. 5 HP is not very much.
But the problem is, right, here's the issue. when we make it 1 in 10,000 off task, this is not money low-level players are going to see. You want this to be this exciting low-level drop for players, but you want it to work at Theater of Blood. If it works at Theater of Blood, the people who are going to... It's just like with Scurious. Who do you think was MVPing Scurious the day it came out? Torva Blood Scythe Infernal Capers. That's who was MVPing Scurious when Scurious came out. The lower level players aren't going to see a benefit from this drop. The bots are going to come in, they're going to sell it. And then what's also going to happen is, why would we use the Swift Blade? That tanks in price. Why would we use the Ham Joint? That tanks in price. Easy clues are now less worthwhile to do because there's less potential to get a big drop, right? Which is why people do easy clues, because easy clues are a low-level, accessible way for people to gamble and maybe get themselves a nice drop that comes out of it, right? I feel like those things kind of hit the bin. I think Michael's wife just texted him and said, shut the hell up. We got things to do. So we probably have to go to break here soon enough, right? Mom and Dad have argued for the last couple hours here. I don't think this weapon working at Tob and also coming from a monster that has 5 hit points benefits anyone who you want it to. I really don't. And frankly, I think at this point, Nilokas aren't bugs. Nilokas are genetically altered vampires. They are not insects, quote unquote, for the sake of this weapon. I think that's the only way to make it remotely rewarding for lower level players. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, this stuff is not coming into the game right now. This is all just like a proposal blog. So I'm sure that once all this gets pulled, we can, restart this argument. Is it already pulled?
I think so.
Yeah, I think this stuff will be pulled. If it's not pulled, then we can just
But like when they don't really pull rebalances though, right?
I mean, this obviously, dude, like this is not a rebalance. This is a new item. Some of this stuff they won't
I
pull.
think they would probably like pull this aspect of it.
Yeah. There are certain aspects of this that they have to pull, but other stuff is like integrity change. So like, I don't think the Bug Basher would come into the game without a pull. So when it inevitably does, I can speak. We can have this argument again because I don't know. It is not that serious.
It should work at Tob.
Dude, why do you always have to have the last word? Just kidding.
Okay, fine. It's not that serious, folks.
It's not that.
That's serious. The last
it's
word.
Really not that serious.
We're going to break. Enjoy this reused commercial. I gotta pee and get more water.
TMI.
What do you want from me, man? I've been sucking down Darjeeling, bitching about the RuneScape for the last 2 hours. I gotta take a break. We'll be right back.
Howdy folks, my name's Prospector Percy and we're looking for some fine young adventurers who want to hone and grind their skills. Now if this sounds like you, then you gotta come on down to Motherlode Mine. Down here we got everything you need to train up them gathering and artisan skills. We got hammers, we got pickaxes, we got dwarves, we got other adventurers, we got a bank, and we got some baby moles. We've even got Grandma! Howdy Grandma! Howdy Percy! You better go come on down here looking for ores, and let me tell you, we got all sorts. We got coal, we got gold, we got mithril, we got adamantite, and even runite. And where do all them there ores come from? Say it with me, fellas. Pay dirt! That's right, folks, them there walls are lined with pay dirt. Mine a bag full and toss them on the conveyor belt. Watch it go down the water. Say hi to the baby mole for me. Once it hits the sack, go mine some more. Load your pay dirt on till the bag is full and fix that dang wheel. When your sack is all full and you're picking through them rocks, you might find some of them there gold nuggets. I'll take them off your hands for all sorts of goodies like bags of gems and bags for coal and bags for more pay dirt. I've even got some fancy mining clothes because who doesn't love a fishing fashion skate? Cart your way down to Fallador to the Mudlode Mine just next to the mining guild to make all your pay dirt dreams come true.
Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that commercial because I know that I sure did. It's that time of the show, folks. We're back where we shout out the patrons, notably before Chaos Cleric can get his grubby little hands in Patreon and change his username to something absolutely out of pocket. this is the point of the show where we shout out the wonderful people that do support us every month. Wise Old Man, they're up on the screen now. They're up on the screen to shout them out, to love them. They might not be on the screen in this exact frame just because the little dance Michael did there. He's got to know. It's been how many weeks we've been doing this? Michael always thinks he can hide behind the Wise Old Man screen and do something ridiculous, as if I'm not going to just put the Wise Old Man up, take it off while Michael's going, and then put it right back on the screen for the rest of it. You got to know.
I do know.
You got to know.
I know
that's gonna happen.
And I wouldn't do it if I knew, you know.
We don't have any new Wise Old Men this week, so we don't have any new folks to shout out. We do have a new Party Pete patron, but that's not a perk. But we do have our KBD tier members to shout out, which is what we're gonna do. So the biggest shout out to Apathy, Boston, Proke 70. Chaos's XL Services, because he wasn't quick enough, baby. My dad. Hi, Dad. Cloud Kicker. Damon S. Dickie Bird. Elite Oreo Dunker. My boy HMZ Bot. MT Birchfield. Oxie's Bad Dussy is Nice. 666. Just when I thought we weren't going to get any out-of-pocket names. Prof Slayer, or third favorite supporter, Ralph, Run Metal 15, Rylithian, Soggy Waffles, Seppi J, Sparky Life, the Big G Jordy, the Crayola Tallymorn, the Return of Swole Gumby, and Thurgo's Rat. Jesus Christ. I need to take a deep breath for this one. Thurgo's Raspberry Glazed Belly Button Bussy. Thank you, Clapscape, for that name. Normally I'd say subscribe. Don't. Just sit this one out this week. Don't go to pay. If you don't go to patreon.com/XPWaste to support us at any tier for as low as $1 up to $25. Don't do that. Not this week. Not after the raspberry glazed belly button pussy. It's best for everyone if you just don't. Oh man, that's got me for a loop. But seriously, thank you to all the KBD patrons out there for showing your immense amount of support. Changing your name is something you can do at any tier of the Patreon, but changing your name at the KBD tier will mean we have to read almost whatever you put within reason. There are some things we're not going to read, but clearly that bar is pretty low because raspberry glazed belly button bussy and Oxie's bad bussy is nice. Badussy is nice. Made it into the stream. So, or made it into the show. So, you know, sky's the fucking limit, I guess. Anyways, you guys are awesome. Head over to that website. Don't this week, though. Just, we're going to have a moratorium on Patreon this week after this. But I do believe it is time for the community question. Michael, am I correct?
You are correct. Oxie didn't know we had a community question, and he found out before we started the second
moments ago that we have a community question. So Lord knows what this is going to be.
Yeah. So last week, I asked you guys on the episode on Spotify. I didn't actually post it on YouTube, so that's my bad. But on Spotify, we had a community question. It's quite simply, do you have a favorite Xpwaste podcast moment from the last 3 years? So we recently just celebrated our 3-year podcasting anniversary for the show. And
here.
You know, we have favorite moments, and we talked about it during the stream and during the last episode. But I wanted to know what your guys' thoughts were. So starting us out, Moist Sean says his favorite moment was telling Oxie at the Xpwaste meetup to get his Infernal Cape. And then less than 2 weeks later, he did it. It was just him waiting on me to be the one to tell him to get it.
God, I do remember that because I asked him. I was like, what NPC do you think I should date? And he said, Zuck. And I said, get out. You're done. Get out of my booth. You're done. And then I said, I felt kind of bad. I was like, do you have any final thoughts? And his final thought was, how's the Inferno going? And I said, get out. No, you're done. Get out. I'm not talking to you anymore. Get out of my booth.
Good stuff.
do remember that.
Good stuff. Next up we have Fizzman15 says how it found me.
Fizzman, Michael.
Fizzman?
It's been Fizzman for weeks. Fizz like physics. Please get it right for the boy. Fizzman.
Fizzman15 says how it found me a community to enjoy the game with. Also, Michael pronouncing my name wrong every week is my dog correcting him.
What did I say? What did I just fucking say? Oh my god!
That was not planned. I didn't read these before.
I don't have any words. I really don't.
We don't need words, dude. That was so good.
Oh my fucking god.
Wow. Okay. Next up we have Dylan. They say my favorite arc in the pod was Oxie's Inferno, but my favorite thing is the friends I found. Shout out to Boston, Reed, Russie, Hi-Fi, Bucket, Poppy, and Jodingus, and D4 Drake. Oh, this is D4 Drake. Shout out to them. Coming from D4 Drake. Hell yeah. Let's see. Next up. Tuhi says probably the first scuffed drunk pod and the Hanani moments. LOL. Thanks for last 3 years, lads. Keep it up. The long pods really help distract me from the boring kitchen jobs I'm working at the moment. Nice. Yeah, I think sometimes like a longer one is good, and sometimes a longer one is just a trudge to edit, and I think that's kind of where we see the longer episodes, but we're trying to strike a balance, so glad that it's appreciated. OC Dam says literally Michael misunderstanding what a part is in the last episode and making a green tea shot with 5 shots worth of alcohol in it and wondering why he's a lightweight. I am not a lightweight. 5 shots.
You got a funny way of showing
5 shots are not a lot for me, but with no food, I was down for the count. I had no dinner. Like I was eating purple sweets for dinner.
I once watched Michael eat a child-sized portion of Mexican food and make it halfway through a margarita with a beet red face, so drunk that he was in a parking structure going, I don't even care anymore. Fuck. Just totally uncensored. So I don't know about you not being a lightweight. Food. I don't know if that's factual information.
I might be a lightweight.
Michael,
like, I can hold
we were inhaling Mexican food in Ann Arbor.
Okay, fine. Maybe I'm a lightweight. But like if I had food, it would have been better.
I've seen you have it with food.
No, I didn't have that much food. It's whatever.
You fucking rat creature.
Oh no. Blue's going for it. Is she gonna knock over your water bottle or something? Quickly, get a picture of the chair. Anyway, I'll move on to the next one without Oxie. Yixi says you could really feel the energy go from drunk and full of energy to almost passed out and tired and then back to normal.
Man, don't talk about my chair.
Get a new chair, Oxie. Hey, no, actually, don't get a new chair. Somebody on YouTube recommended that you just get a chair cover. So you can get the chairs off, like a chair slip cover or whatever on Amazon. And it'd be like a whole new chair, and you don't have to spend the money on a brand new one. So shout out to whoever that was.
I don't have to spend the money either way because I get reimbursed through Xpwaste, so I'm not losing anything. But
True. Next up, Blah Breakdown says getting me through Thursday mornings without losing my mind. Heart emoji. Glad we could be there for you.
We're here for you, brother.
Trey says, I've only been listening to one episode, but I can already tell Michael has the best takes on everything. And I did not edit that. He actually said that.
Just say, bro, turns out Michael is Trey confirmed. Hello?
I did not make an alt account just to post that. Thank you, Trey. Appreciate you. I do have pretty good takes. If you could sit through this episode and not think I was a total dweeb, then, you know, we're going to get along. Real Crazy says, the moment that will always make me laugh, no matter what, was when Michael was talking about how the combat needs to evolve with Lacrimosa
Oh
playing.
my god. What? Lacrimosa?
I don't know how to pronounce these words. Lacrimosa playing and the pictures of EOC fading slowly in on the screen.
I don't even know if that's how you pronounce it. Is Lacrimosa? I don't even. I'm not, because I feel like it's Latin or Spanish or something. I don't know how to. I don't know how to pronounce that.
Lacrimosa? I don't know. It's a song.
Lacrimosa, yep.
Is it
Lacrimosa.
Is it the Halo theme that was playing? I can't remember.
No.
Is it the dun 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 dun?
It was not. No, it's a song by Wolf. It's by Mozart.
Oh, okay. Cool. Anyway, that was a fun moment. Yes. That was
sure
I think that was
enough, it is
Oxie.
in Latin.
That was Oxie's editing on that one. The EOC and like the dog with the wide eyes, like remembering the war. Chi says, not just one moment, but the drinking episodes have little extra chaos and the tangents are on another level. Love what you guys do. Hell yeah. And finally, on the community question this week, Vespolar says, Oxie demonstrating the different weapon specs during the first Hanani episode. I don't usually watch episodes, but I 100% went back and rewatched that one. So good. So good. Thank you so much to everyone who answered this week's community question and did a little reminiscing with us. I know it was a shorter one because I obviously forgot to post it on YouTube. But, you know, if you have a favorite memory from the last 3 years and you don't listen to the show on Spotify and you want to tell us, head over to the Xpwaste chat. We would love to hear and reminisce with you. I think that's something that's so special that we get to do is look back on the time that we've had together and you know, we're not going to remember everything, but like all the special moments that you remember will definitely warm our hearts. So just let us know. It doesn't have to be anything deep. It can just be something as simple as like what these guys say, like Oxie like doing the specs in a certain episode. That was like fun. So thank you so much. If you want to answer this week's question, it will be, what did you think about the new blogs, the rebalancing and the skilling? And what's your most controversial take about the two? We want to know. So you can answer that question on the community question section on Spotify or the pinned comment of this YouTube video. I'm going to throw it over to Oxie, who is in shambles because the recording booth has absolutely latched on.
I'm going to put the picture. Swole is not even in the fucking recording booth. He's not even fucking here right now. And he posted the Piper Perry picture. My face is on Piper Perry. And the guys behind her are just 5 fucking chairs. And Tiki just said Swole made the episode thumbnail. I
don't think it's relevant.
Okay. Well,
that would be very confusing.
Anyways, achievement of the week. You guys you did some things over the last couple of weeks. It's time to shout them out so I don't have to go through the abuse for my chair in the recording booth chat. We're going to kick things off with skilling this week because skilling is our largest category, as it almost always is. It has been 2 weeks since we did Achievement of the Week, so we have a little bit more to shout out this time around. Kicking us off, Rosgin, again, cruising his way to max with both 99 firemaking and 99 thieving. D. Falconer achieved 99 defense. Typical Lifts achieved 99 firemaking. We got a lot of 99 firemaking these last couple of weeks. Hall and Boats, name I still just like a lot, achieved 99 hit points. Jaw Dead, a.k.a. Jaw Birdhouse, a.k.a. Jaw Woodcut, a.k.a. Jaw Lumberjack, achieved 99 woodcutting. Nate, the powerful gay Nate, achieved 99 range. P5HT or Cougar achieved 99 mining, calling me out specifically for his achievement. Don't you love watching other people live your dream still? Congratulations. Big Kyle cracked off 99 strength and 99 range. The Last Plague achieved 99 strength. Elvish J achieved 99 firemaking and 99 fletching. Humble Owl achieved 99 attack. Habitat achieved 99 rune crafting. J Goose achieved 99 firemaking and 99 rune crafting. Rue Tigger T35 achieved 99 hit points. Shinkiro, the man who I was moving along with mining with, got 99 mining. Free to play Rune Rocks. You're free, brother. You're free. Kaiga Sales achieved 99 smithing. Darkstar 65 achieved 99 woodcutting. Tanto Tricks achieved 99 attack, and I want to say 2,200 total with that. It's either 2K total or 2,200. I think it's 2,200. Danish Deity achieved 99 smithing, and Schlim Jim, while we were recording, achieved 99 crafting. We have a couple of total levels this week as well. Eligio, Main Sequence, and Punkus all achieved 2K total level in the time that we have had our 2-week achievement of the week stint. It is time to now complete the skilling section and move over to the combat section, where we have 5 brand new fire capes. Oh, just makes me feel a special kind of happy when we got that many. Achieving their first fire cape in these last few weeks, we have Grim N. I think it's how you say that name. Grim N. Lost Leaf, Stanzy, Air Quotes, and Nikki Jade, all having achieved their first fire cape. Congratulations. Huge GZ to you guys. Will you have some more firsts as well? The Big Fig BC, and this is one of the names of all time. P Nus Flytrap, like the letter P, N-U-S, like Venus, but you get it. Penis Flytrap. They both killed Zulrah for the first time. Congratulations to you guys. We have some combat achievements. Yas Girl Yas, while we were recording, just completed the Easy Combat Achievement Diary, and both Shady and Jamungo achieved the Hard Combat Diary over these last few weeks. Capping off the combat achievement section of Achievement of the Week, Shadowblade, one of our good friends, got his Fang kit. Got the Cursed Phalanx.
Didn't he do it solo too?
Got the 5. I think he did do it solo. I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to go back and look.
I didn't see anybody in the screenshot.
He got the Fang kit. Congratulations to you, man. That new Fang looks real nice. Like the redone Fang. Anyways. Moving on to the miscellaneous category, often the shortest category, but still always worth shouting out. When it comes to quest capes, Grim NN makes their second appearance this week with a quest cape. Albicalis, I think we've shouted that name out before and I've butchered it then. Albicalis and USA 4838 all achieved their quest capes this week. So we got 3 new quest capes and 5 new fire capes. It's a good week for Achievement of the Week, folks. It's a good week. Additionally, USA 4838 got their music cape, while Raymer got their diary cape. The last achievement to shout out, only because it was mentioned in the levels and achievements chat, and we know him well enough to shout it out. Swole got engaged.
Oh,
99 fiance. What a man. Is getting engaged getting 99 girlfriend or 99 boyfriend or 99 partner? Is that like the cape of accomplishment? Is the engagement?
Well, your level 2 partner. Like level 1 is boyfriend girlfriend. He's level 2 partner. I guess if you're going like linear like scale, like yeah, sure. You've maxed out girlfriend and now you're fiance. In his scenario.
You got the fire cape of partners. Now you need the infernal cape of partners. Oh. And once you have that, you'll just be going for like the blood torva of partners, which is like old married couple. I guess. I don't know.
Or the podcast.
Congratulations. Shut up. Congratulations, Swole, and congratulations. Max Cape is the side chick. Get out of here, Tiki. Congratulations to you, Swole, and congratulations to everyone who achieved something awesome this week. If you achieved something awesome this week, as we say every week, head over to discord.gg/OSRSTNL. Post about literally everything that you think is a cool achievement. We genuinely don't care. We've seen so many base 50s, base 60s. We've seen people get their graceful for the first time. We've seen people get first fire capes. We've also seen people get fang kits, and people get solo GM chambers times, and people get, Blood Torva, Zuck Helm. It doesn't matter what the achievement is. We want to see the cool shit that you guys are doing in game. Head over to our Discord, objectively the best in the land, I might add, and go have yourself a grand old time posting about your achievements. Michael, my friend.
Yeah.
Do you have the document full of fun questions open for us to read?
I don't, but, give me 2.5 seconds and I will.
What a man. Because we got a lot of fun questions still left to get through from the last episode.
Google Docs, finding the sheet. It's all highlighted. Yeah, there it is. Okay. All right. We're just going to do it at random. No order here. Let's just go with one from OG Scuba. This is a pretty quick one. It says, would you buy an offline version of OSRs if they modded all the content to be single player? I think I would. The content in this game is to a point where I think I could enjoy the game at a relative pace while it's still being while it's still being fun. Like, obviously there's going to be some stuff that just kind of sucks, getting all the drops, but I'm already kind of doing that on my own, like I'm playing the Iron Man mode and I'm enjoying it.
Mm-hmm.
But what would be really cool is if they had not necessarily NPCs, but bots that kind of just ran around and that were controlled by the engine itself, kind of I guess NPCs. I guess if they had NPCs to make it feel like there was players, but then what's the point in that? I guess I don't know. Yeah, maybe. I think I would. I still think I would. What about you?
I don't think I would.
No,
I don't think I would, because I feel like if I'm keen to play single player games by myself sometimes, especially if they're very story driven. I don't want to listen to other people talk about the game or what they feel or how they think I'm going to do if I've not experienced it before. And I think I lose way too much human interaction by making this game truly single player. So I don't think I'd play an offline modded version of the game. Yeah, I don't. I don't think I would. This game would have to change a lot in order for me to want to be single player with it. And I don't think I want that, because I think the reason I still play this game is because I interact with a bunch of other people. When I play story games, I don't talk to anybody else, because I don't want to be spoiled. I don't want them to because there are a lot of things that for me, oh, good luck, this next boss is going to be really hard. That's even I didn't even know there was a boss coming up, dude. And don't do that.
Yeah.
So I think for me, having this game as an MMO specifically be I engage with other players, I like it a lot, because I also feel I would go insane. Could you imagine having to sit at MLM by yourself? Truly be alone? At least there's other players up here, so I can I live in the is confide, console, whatever the right word is, to I like the fact that I take solace. There it is. I take solace in the fact that I'm not the only one suffering right now. So that's kind of where I'm sitting. I don't know if I'd play an offline OSRS.
Yeah, I think that's valid. You bring up great points. This game is an MMO for a reason. So it would kind of feel different, a lot different actually. There would be things that don't make sense. Like, why is it so big if it's just you? You could argue that like certain area lock content would be a lot more fun. Not more fun, but like just as fun. Like if you were only locked to Mauritania as a single player game, I think that would be kind of fun. If they modded Theater of Blood and like Fazani's, or like, sorry, The Nightmare and all of that to just be like solo content, I think that could be interesting. But yeah, like the entire scope of the game, way too big, I think, to be viable as a single player game with just you. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Let's see. Let's do one more. Frick, marry, kill. Veneratus, Vedion, and Callisto.
I'm marrying Veneratus.
Yeah.
So I can like hit that way more frequently. I'm definitely hooking up with Callisto. I'm not really one who's into bears. As more of a bear myself, I'm not really into others, but you know what? What's one night, Yeah. There's only a select few people that are going to get that joke, and you guys are the people I appreciate the most. I hated old Vedion, and I hate new Calvarion. So I think we're going to kill Vedion.
Okay.
But we're specifically going to kill Vedion and not Calvarion. So my my KC at Calvarion doesn't go up. Because if it was Calvarion, I'd have to Calvarion. I would have to Calvarion because I cannot get more KC at that boss.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
It's unfortunate. But it's not Calvarion, it's Vedion. So killing Vedion, fucking Callisto. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. I think Veneratus can die. So kill Veneratus.
That's my wife. That's disrespectful.
So sorry. This is a different universe. You're not married to Veneratus this time.
Frick!
Oh man, I think we're complete opposites. Because like, yeah, I think Callisto would be a great one night stand. And then Vedion. So for me, if I was a dapper young lady or just like a differently oriented male, I think having Vedion.
You mean gay?
Sure.
Differently oriented?
Me though, like if I was gay,
what in the name of 1930s is that, Michael? What the fuck?
If I was gay,
I'm changing my name. I'm changing my name right now to differently oriented M17. What the fuck? Oh my god.
Callisto would make a great nightstand too. Also, just not a good one night stand. A great nightstand. I would like the protective nature of Vedion, where like he's very protective. He has like the big sword in the shield, and he will do anything for his two little doggies. Like that's a really attractive quality, for me. So like seeing him be so protective, I would feel safe. I would feel safe. Guys, don't roast me, okay? Sometimes I just say stuff, okay? Sometimes I just say it. I don't really think about what I'm saying. Differently oriented. Like I would be, if my sexual orientation was different. That's what I meant to say. If I was gay, sure.
Good God.
But no, Veneratus can die. Dead, killing her. Thank you for the fun questions. Let's see. That was from Kaiga Sales and OG Scuba. Thank you guys so much. You guys are amazing. For that fun question, we have a lot of other fun questions in this document to get to. So we may just be like rapid firing them the next couple episodes to get through some of the extra ones that we didn't answer in the episode itself. So if you have any fun questions that you'd like to give us, you can send them over in the fun question section on Discord if you're a patron, or you can just post them in like the general chat of Xpwaste, where Xpwaste chat or Gen chat is like, it's probably going to get missed if either Oxie or I are not on to catch it, to post it somewhere. So You can DM it to me, or you can email it to us, or the best thing you can do is send it in a postcard. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention the fact that we got this postcard. Can you guess who this is from? Oxie. It says Australia is not the only place we're going down under.
Can only be
It's
swole.
swole, baby, and he got his own stamp. So cool. Let's see.
That Swole is the most built different man in the community.
So cool, dude.
And I love him for that. That is you're committed to the bit so much. You got your own fucking stamp. We got to read that. I didn't know we had a postcard.
I forgot until I looked down.
It says,
G'day,
oh
gents.
my god, we're doing that next one. We got to do that next week for sure.
Oh, the
we
next
gotta
week.
Save
Okay,
it for next week, Michael.
Anyway, this is what you can expect: is us to show your postcard. He actually got one for you, and I need to mail it to you. So we got two.
Beautiful.
So, send us a postcard to our PO Box 2376, Keller, Texas 76244, and it could go up on the board behind me. There's a precariously placed cutout where my head usually goes, but that's no matter. One day I'll mount it to like a wall where it's fully visible, and we'll just Oh, Tiki
fill
said
it out and stand in front of it.
Tiki said Discord bot for fun question submissions. Yeah, that would actually be great. We'll put him to work. He said he wanted the code today, so maybe that's what he can code. Hell yeah. All right, actually, I have Wingstop waiting for me with some hot honey boneless wings. So send us off.
I'll show you hot honey.
Hmm?
What?
Hmm?
Speaking of being differently oriented, folks, it's been a ride. We know you guys kind of like when mom and dad fight throughout the episode, so hopefully this kind of tickle the niche you guys had. Let us know your thoughts in the Xpwaste chat. Let us know your thoughts about our Twitch name and what you want to see from us going live on Twitch. Somebody said they want to watch me learn Sepulcher, and that's pretty on brand for wanting to see me suffer on stream. Some things never change. It's been real. It's been fun. Every link you could ever need from us will be in the description of this episode down below. And with that, I think we're going to send you guys off. Michael is going to prep for a stream, and I am going to go get ready to go drink for St. Patrick's Day. So,
Hell yeah.
see you folks in Varlamore next week.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.